102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Caroline Fenton is here today. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, how we doing?
Fantastic. 1 hour from now, the NFL trading deadline is upon us. Some big news and notes. Deshaun Watson will not be traded. We talked about this last week when we were doing Jared versus Joe, and we were talking about a lot of things, and I'm like, how can you trade for somebody who might go to jail?
It just doesn't seem like a very smart investment.
Does not seem right. So the Dolphins have let it be known to Adam Schefter that they are not interested in trading for Deshaun Watson. Now, the Titans. Yesterday, everyone kept wondering, who can the Titans trade for at running back? For obvious reasons, Derrick Henry is out for at least 6 weeks, probably more like 9 to 11, if I had to guess. I've heard a lot of different injury analysts and a lot of injury experts, and they're all giving me different timetables. If you're just a casual football fan and you watched Monday Night Football yesterday, you think Derrick Henry's done for the year because the bottom of the screen kept saying the lead, Derrick Henry expected out for the season. Now, I listened to Mike Vrabel talk yesterday, and we had Stefan Yabel, ESPN's injury analyst, on the show, and I didn't hear out for the year. And I didn't sense out for the year from Vrabel. I don't know. Did you sense that Vrabel might be hiding out for the year? Like, I think the Titans are like I am, which is just tread water and hope Derrick comes back. And then when Derrick comes back, try to go win the Super Bowl. That's how I am. I think the Titans are in the same boat. But if you watch the TV broadcast yesterday, it said at the bottom, expected out for the year. So almost every casual football fan thinks Derrick is done for the season, the end. And I don't think that that's the case right now.
And Adam Schefter's tweet was a little bit misleading because I don't remember the exact words that he said, but basically said fearful that he is out for the year.
Sure.
So if you take that out for the year out of context, of course, that's exactly where your mind is going to go to. But Adam Schefter said fearful for the rest of the year.
Which immediately turned everybody to
rest of the year.
Right. So that's something you got to deal with. But the running back situation, Jeremy McNichols is right now the number one running back of the Tennessee Titans. Adrian Peterson has been added to the practice squad, as has Deontay Foreman. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I thought Foreman played pretty well last year in the 2 or 3 games that he got in as kind of like this baby Derrick backup. And I'm surprised that Foreman has not made it in the NFL because he's kind of a big physical running back. I mean, he's not Henry, but I don't know, Ian, I thought Foreman did a good job last year.
I'd say that's fair.
Okay, so he's added to the practice squad. Paw Adrian Peterson has been added to the practice squad, and I haven't watched Adrian Peterson like at length in a couple of years. I do remember they played Washington maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and they came in with Adrian Peterson, and I kept calling him Paw Peterson, and Peterson ran all over the Titans, and I remember Floyd laughing, and I remember him being like, ha, and what do you think now about Paw Peterson? And I was like, yeah, I didn't expect Adrian Peterson at 555 years old to come in here and do what he did, but apparently he did. So they've got those 3 guys right now at running back, and that's kind of where they sit. So you've got 55 minutes and 30 seconds to make a trade. Do the Titans need to make a trade? I think running back is obviously the position that everybody would talk about now, but there still is tight end, offensive line, defense. I think there are possibilities, as far as trades are concerned. Do the Titans need to make a trade? But more importantly, I think the question is, if you think they need to make a trade, what do you think that they have to trade? Because they don't have a second-round pick because they traded it for Julio Jones. They've got a first-round pick. They've got a third-round pick. But I don't know if you see the holes that are upcoming on the roster, but you're going to need to pick good players with your first and third-round picks, something that you have not been doing very well of lately. You will have to pick good players. I mean, right now, this upcoming season, your left tackle, Taylor Lewan, will probably not be with the team. Your left guard, Roger Saffold, will probably be released and not be with the team. Your center, Ben Jones, is a free agent. Your You got your 2 receivers, but AJ's probably going to want a new contract. You have no tight end. You have no right tackle. Harold Landry is a free agent at the end of the year. You got a lot of holes you're going to have to fill, and you got a lot of money you're going to have to pay. Rashaan Evans and Jayon Brown are free agents at the end of the year. I mean, there's going to be a lot of money, and you don't have all that money. And by the way, Tannehill's contract and Julio's contract and Bud Dupree's contract, those really start to kick up. So you're going to have to replace your entire offensive line, your middle linebackers, all this. You're going to have picks to pick. Like, you're going to have players to pick. So, what do you think the Titans have to trade? And do the Titans need to make a trade? Again, we start at running back, but the trade deadline is applicable to all positions. Or is Adrian Peterson and Deontay Foreman enough at the running back position that it doesn't necessitate a trade?
Well, I mean, if you look at this Titans offense, it is a run-first offense. And we said so many times yesterday that this offense isn't just going to magically transform into this Ryan Tannehill throw the ball 40 times a game, a complete air ball type of offense. That's just not what it is. Ryan Tannehill isn't that type of quarterback. This offensive line cannot do that. So I think that if the Titans want to make this transition without Derrick Henry as seamless as possible, because it's not going to be seamless, because you're not just going to, completely not miss Derrick Henry at all. He's the best running back in the league for a reason. But if they want to make it as seamless as possible, if they want to make their shot at finishing as high in the AFC as possible without Derrick Henry, I think their best move is to pick up a running back. Tight end is a need, 100%. And tight end will be a need whenever Derrick Henry comes back. But I think that with this team being such a run-heavy offense, you got to get a little bit more support in the run game.
So if you look at the stream, I will be looking at my phone. I am not Adam Schefter. I am not talking to agents and sources and things like that. But I will be looking at my phone throughout this hour to see what they do. So you think they need to trade for a running back. You don't think Jeremy McNichols, Adrian Peterson, and Deontay Foreman is good enough right now?
I fear for Jeremy McNichols' workload and how much he can really take on. Because I do think that Vrabel is going to turn to Jeremy McNichols and say, hey, look, you're next man up. You've done everything that we've asked you to do. We're going to ask you to do a little bit more now.
But if you were in that seat, you would trade for a running back?
Probably.
Okay, what would you be willing to trade? And what would you be willing to take on? Because remember, I believe the Titans have somewhere in the ballpark of $5 or $6 million in salary cap space. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's gone down since they've signed more players because everybody does technically count. So they're probably in the ballpark of $5 million. Everything that you don't spend this year rolls over to next year.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to replace your entire offensive line outside of Nate Davis and maybe David Quessenberry. But you're probably going to have to replace your entire offensive line. I don't know if the Titans can have any belief in Dylan Radunz going forward right now as far as being a starting player on the team. So you've got
a depth piece.
You've got no young players to turn to right now because all your picks have sucked. So you need to pick players with your picks. What are you willing to trade?
Nothing higher than a third.
So nothing higher. So you're willing to give up a third-round draft choice.
Depends on who it is.
But I don't think you can give up a third-round draft choice. You need your third-round draft choice to start next year. So you want to go get a running back, even if it's a really good running back. So,
because what are the options at running back right now? Jeremy McNichols, who hasn't gotten no more than 10 touches a game, and then Adrian Peterson, who's 150 years old,
and Deontay Foreman,
who
can never get on an NFL team except for yours.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, if it's going to take a third-round pick, no, it's not ideal, but what's your window?
A third-round pick.
I'm saying no higher than a third. So let's say hypothetically it does take a third. What's the window?
Okay, so
right now is the window.
Mark Ingram, who is third in the NFL in rushing right now,
okay,
was traded last week for a sixth.
Okay.
So I don't think I would probably, and I think the only seventh you have, I don't think you have a seventh.
Was it just a sixth?
Yeah.
That seems really low.
Old running backs on bad teams. I mean, that's what I'm trying to think in my head, and I'd have to look at what the Titans have or don't have. I don't think the Titans have a seventh-round pick. because I believe they swapped that with the Dolphins with Isaiah Wilson in order to get the Dolphins 7th this year. So I think you're looking at a 6. You don't have a 2, stupidly.
Yeah.
You don't have a 2. You need young players. I mean, I'll just tell you my opinion. I'm taking McNichols, Foreman, and Peterson, and I'm rolling with it.
Do you think they can do it?
Do I think that they can survive doing it? Do I think they can beat Jacksonville, the Texans twice, Miami, and one of those Saints, Steelers, Patriots games? Yes. Do I think they can compete for the Super Bowl? No. But any running back that would be good enough to compete for the Super Bowl
is already on a roster
and is going to
cost way more.
Right. And so, to me, I'm good with it. I'm good with what they have right now. And if they don't make a trade at running back, I'm fine with that. I am a pick guy. Like, every time I go into the draft, if there wasn't a player that I wanted at that pick, I'm trading out every time. Because I am not. I think that the more picks you have, I think this is obvious, the more picks you have. Like, I loved that Jared Goff trade that they made, where they traded that pick, which became Jared Goff, and they got all those other picks. And I was begging for them to make a similar move in 2017 when they had the 5th pick, which became Corey Davis. Because the more picks, the more cracks you have at it. Mm-hmm. And the more ability that if there's a player you love in the draft, you can move up and go get them. And so that's why I'm always a pick guy. But now the picks have been so bad over the last couple of years that you have to nail your picks in next year's draft if you want to have any shot of competing. And not only that, do you have to nail those picks, but you also find yourself in a position where if you don't nail those picks, the window probably shuts. And it's probably over. So I look at it like I don't think they can do. Ian says overthecap.com has the Titans at $3.9 million in cap space. I don't think they can afford to take on anybody else that doesn't automatically come in and give them the level of play that they would get from Derrick Henry, and that doesn't exist.
But what if Derrick Henry is not back for the season? That's the tricky thing here, is that if there was a timeline definitively, the doctors could say 6 to 8 weeks he'll be back, then great. Then the Titans could expect Derrick Henry back for the playoffs. But we don't know that yet. What Stephania Bell said yesterday is that they won't know for another 6 weeks, and then it's too late. So what if you don't get Derrick Henry back for the playoffs? I don't think that you can make a run for a Super Bowl, but you're definitely not going to make it deep into the playoffs. You're definitely not going to make a run to the Super Bowl with Jeremy McNichols and Adrian Peterson at running back. So in a run-first offense.
So ask me that question again.
So that's what I'm just saying. I'm just defending what I'm saying.
Re-ask the question. Just the question.
What question?
The one you just asked.
So if Derrick Henry isn't back for the playoffs.
You lose.
Yes.
That's it. The end. You lose. If Derrick doesn't come back, you lose.
But what if you don't have to? What if you don't have to lose?
Because.
What if you can pick up Ronald Jones and gives you a little bit of a better chance?
It gives you a little bit of a better chance to win this year, but it hurts you down the road significantly.
What's the window, though?
You have to go draft another great player to extend your window.
But that's going to take years.
Is it?
You don't just extend your window.
The Dallas Cowboys have the best defensive player in the league. They drafted him last year in the 2nd round.
Okay.
The NFL, you draft good players, pretty quickly.
That's a good player. They didn't rebuild their team.
No, but their defense is
completely rebuilt. The Titans have to rebuild an offensive line.
Yes.
Ryan Tannehill's getting older.
But
Derrick Henry's getting older.
Making it harder to rebuild the offensive line because you're taking away my picks.
But at least I'm capitalizing on the window that the Titans have now.
Okay, but if you do that, then you're going to suck probably next year or at least the year after that.
I think the Titans knew that when they traded a 2nd-round pick for Julio Jones.
I don't know what the Titans knew when they traded a 2nd-round pick for Julio Jones.
That's a very
fair point. And I wish they were
point.
Smart enough to have known some of the things that we knew on the radio show when they traded a 2nd-round pick for Julio Jones.
That's a very fair point.
I mean, the truth
is... But, I think John Robinson showed us. We're going for it. We have a window, and we're going to go for it. So why would you just look at your window and say, you know what, the 2nd-round pick, the $15 million, it's okay. Because rest up, Derek. We'll try again next year.
In my opinion, the window was the window was open for one thing.
Derrick Henry.
And
And Ryan Tannehill.
You asked, if Derek's not here, then what? You lose.
You don't have to, though. That's my thing.
I think you do. I don't think Ronald Jones Jr. comes in here and is the running back of the Titans, and you go roll through the Raiders, the Ravens, and the Bills on your way to the Super Bowl.
I don't think that he's going to pick up where Derrick Henry left off. There's a reason why he's not their number 1 guy in Tampa Bay.
Or their number 2 guy.
Correct.
Or their number 3 guy.
Is he not their number 3 guy? Who is their number 3 guy?
I know, like, when I was there at training camp.
Don't be pulling out this depth chart on me.
When I was there in training camp, they had him, Giovanni Bernard, Leonard Fournette, and Keyshawn Vaughn. And I don't know. I think Vaughn may have gotten cut. I don't know. But
Jones is probably third right now in the pecking order.
I would assume.
Yeah.
I do remember for like the 5 seconds that I watched the game, like in between the Titans game and then going to the Braves game on Sunday, that Giovanni Bernard got a carry and that Joe Davis, the announcer, was like, and he never gets carries. And I was like,
oh no. Oh, don't do the guy like that.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. That is how we are starting today's show. 1, do you think they need to make a trade by the deadline? I was tell you, I don't think they're going to make a trade. Do you think they need to make a trade by the deadline? 2, what are you willing to give up? Because I am not willing to give up anything better than a 6th. I think you need a player with your first pick. I think you need a player with your third pick. I think you need a player with your 4th pick. And I think you need a player with your 5th pick. And I think you need players at all those spots because all the players you've drafted the last 2 years absolutely stink or can't stay healthy or both. And so that's where you are. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get to your reaction because there is less than 43 minutes until the trading deadline commences for the NFL. Stillman and Company, we are delivered by TriStar Moving, 615-737-1025. And, of course, we're streaming on the Game Nashville app, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
It's game day in Smashville.
He scores! Philip Forsberg makes it 1-0.
The Predators seek a 4th straight victory as they begin their road trip in Calgary.
We have an awesome group, lots of really good leaders, and no one's ever given up.
Pre-game at 7, face-off at 8 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical breakthrough. The WAVE technology at Hillside Medical Clinic was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now. And not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. I don't think I've ever seen it fail. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Hey, it's Jared for Bowl and Branch. It's gift giving time, and I hope you're ready to get your loved ones the quality of a great night's sleep. We spend 1/3 of our lives in bed, so pure organic cotton sheets from Bowl and Branch make a truly special gift. Bowl and Branch has fantastic sheets that are comfortable and of a great quality, and it's all at a fair price. I know this because I have Bowl and Branch sheets, and I absolutely love every single night's sleep I get. Bowl and Branch has the most comfortable cotton organic sheets on the market. Husband and wife team Scott and Missy Tannen founded Bowl and Branch to create a new standard of bedding by doing things the right way and not the easy way. So get those signature hem sheets for your loved one and give that great gift of comfort. Treat yourself and your loved ones to the new standard in bedding from Bowl and Branch. Their gifts come wrapped and ready in their special holiday packaging. Order by December 19th for guaranteed delivery by Christmas. Get 20% off your first set of sheets with promo code Jared at bowlandbranch.com. That's BOLL and branch.com, promo code Jared. See site for details. Exclusions may apply.
Now is the best time to work at Amazon. They are offering higher sign-on bonuses and more hourly pay. On November 6th, Amazon is hosting a hiring event and will be making job offers on the spot for warehouse associates. Please be sure to bring 2 forms of federal identification to help expedite the application process. Come to the Radisson Hotel Nashville Airport Center Drive on November 6th between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. and you could walk away with a new job. Amazon is proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
With Fundbox, you can stop waiting and start doing. If your small business needs funds to grow, the time is now. Fundbox offers fast, easy access to small business funding up to $150,000. So hire that new employee, launch that campaign, buy that piece of equipment. Apply in minutes at fundbox.com, and you could get funding as soon as the next business day. Fundbox. Ready, set, grow. Credit line amounts, rates, and terms are based on creditworthiness and subject to change. Additional documentation may be required.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
It's about Adrian Peterson being brought in the last couple of years in the back end of his career. What have you seen from him? Leads you to believe he's still got juice and power?
Well, I'm not going to comment on what's being speculated. I'm going to comment on the guys that are here on our roster that we have signed, and we've played against Adrian, and obviously he's got a pretty strong and solid resume.
I wonder if Mike Vrabel was going to bust out. Well, my second year in the league when Adrian Peterson was a rookie, because that's how long ago it was.
Back in my day,
Adrian Peterson has been signed to the practice squad. Yesterday, you were like, he's not a practice squad player. No, he's on the practice squad. He is a practice squad player.
I know what it means, but I'm saying that there's a difference between a practice squad player and a player who happens to be on the practice squad right now. He's not going to be on the practice squad forever.
I will say this. A couple years ago, Floyd was looking through the Titans media guide and had the all-time practice squads. And he was like, you spend all these years and all the things I dealt with the practice squad, and you always think every now and then you find a good player and he becomes something good. He goes, I got 20 years of practice squads in front of me, not one player worth of you-know-what.
Well, that's not Adrian Peterson.
I will say Adrian Peterson is not that.
When he gets his Hall of Fame induction speech when he's in Canton, you can say, oh, yeah, Adrian Peterson.
Do you think they'll put that on the plaque?
Yeah, practice squad guy.
New Orleans, Arizona.
New England?
No.
Was he New England?
Arizona,
Minnesota,
Washington. Well, Minnesota was first.
Oh.
Washington, Detroit, practice squad.
Maybe. Adrian Peterson, Hall of Fame practice squad guy.
I'm good with those 3. I'm good with Peterson, McNichols, and Foreman. And I think the order is, I think McNichols is the running back. I know a lot of people have said, well, what about this? I think that Jeremy McNichols, and I could be wrong, I think Jeremy McNichols is the starting running back of the Tennessee Titans. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to get Derek's carries. But if Derek played third base and McNichols was the backup third baseman and utility infielder and Derek got hurt, McNichols is going to third base. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to pinch hit for him, and it doesn't mean that we're not going to bring in another glove late in the middle innings or late innings, but he's the third baseman. I think McNichols is the running back. I think Ian brought up a great point. Short yardage situations in which Jeremy McNichols almost never plays. I think Adrian Peterson or Deontay Foreman get those carries. But I think right now Jeremy McNichols is your running back unless you make a trade in the next 36 minutes. And I don't think they're going to make a trade. And I don't think they have anything to trade.
I don't think that they will. I'm just giving my thoughts as to what I would do if I was John Robinson or Mike Vrabel.
I would use my picks to make picks. And at least if I'm going to use my picks, I'm going to get more than Julio Jones and what he's given you so far.
Well, they already did that.
In exchange for my picks. What kills me about the Julio thing is how right we were and how much flack. Just got at the time this summer of people being like, he's Julio Jones, Jared.
I got called a Titans hater more in that span of 2 or 3 weeks where the Julio gate
would come on, and I love TD, but TD would come on and be like, what do you mean Julio's old, he can't play it? And the people be like, get him, TD. I'm like, guys, he's old and he's hurt. And now he's old and hurt. And now people are like, oh, I guess he's old and hurt.
But he's the Titans old and hurt.
I said he was. That's why you don't trade for. Oh,
he's old and hurt in the two-tone blue, and that's all that matters.
You people. Okay, let's go to your phone. 615-737-1025. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Adam, kick us off today on the trade deadline. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't think it would be smart at all to go and get a running back. You got to look at it like Deontay Foreman. He knows the offense. He played in it. I actually think he's a bruiser running back, so I was excited.
I think Foreman's kind of good. I can't figure out why he can't get on any other team in the NFL.
Yeah, he's not. And if you watched him in Texas, man, he was a standout. But what I've been looking at, and yeah, I agree with you. Like Desmond King, we got him last year, right, as a corner. Mm-hmm. We gave a 6th-round pick. What did he do when he was here? He sucked. He didn't do anything, and he's getting burned in the Texans secondary now. So I don't want to waste picks on that. If you could find a way, with the little bit of money we have. Wrong, Jared, but this coming up in the next few weeks is going to say more about our coaches, because Derrick Henry might have been hiding some bad coaches, man. He could have been hiding some bad players and coaches and just covering it up because he's so good. So I think it needs to be more on our coaching staff than anything.
Thank you, Adam. I will say this. I do wonder if Derrick Henry being out is going to expose a bunch of people for bad decisions that they've made. And when I say this, I think there is like a group of about 3 or 4 that are really going to get hung out to dry in life without Derrick Henry. I think Ryan Tannehill is one of those people. I think Mike Vrabel is one of those people. I think John Robinson is one of those people. And I think the offensive line as a whole, I think I am scared to death for all 4 of those people. And I think, honestly, Vrabel is the least of that group. I mean, I am scared to death of Tannehill without Henry. I am scared to death of what life will look like for Ryan Tannehill without Derrick Henry as his running back. Because while I can sit here and tell you that I think the offense is going to stay the same, and I think Vrabel kind of alluded to that yesterday when he was like, we're not going to want to throw the ball 45 times a game, and we're certainly not going to want to throw it 45 times a game this week, was what Vrabel said. And I took that to mean, hey, we're going to take the offense that we had with Derrick, and we're giving the ball to McNichols, and we're giving it to Old Man Peterson, and we're giving it to Foreman. And you may not like it, but that's better than the alternative of telling Tannehill, hey, you're going to drop back 40 times. But that's the theory. The reality of what might happen on a Sunday, like this Sunday, might be that you end up throwing the ball 40 times a game. And I don't think Tannehill can do that.
I'm terrified of this defense against Tannehill.
I don't think Tannehill can do it. I don't think the offensive line can block it. And outside of A.J. Brown, I don't think any single pass catcher is good enough to be in an offense that throws the ball 40 times a game. I don't think Westbrook-Akina is. I don't think Rodgers is. I don't think Marcus Johnson is. I don't think any of those guys are good enough to be in an offense that tries to go up and down the field and throw the ball all over the place.
Julio is good enough. He's just not healthy enough, which is just as bad.
Yeah, I mean.
But he can do it. Physically, he's able to do it. Well, I guess not physically. He's able to do it right now. Physically, he's unable to do it, but he can do it.
And if you could do it, but you can't do it now, it doesn't matter that you could do it. Like, that does not matter. So I am worried about Tannehill. And also the decision-making that we've talked about has been absurd. And you're only going to ask Tannehill now to make more decisions than you would have before.
And not having that cushion of being able to pass off the ball to a guy who can get a first down on any carry.
I'm worried about the offensive line, obviously, because I think they stink. And I think Henry is covered up for the offensive line. I think John Robinson, and I've told you all that while this show never has sacred cows, John Robinson's probably going to be the closest thing that we ever have to one. Now, I think it's very easy to defend John Robinson. They're going to have 6 winning seasons and 6 seasons with him as the general manager. And at the end of the day, the general manager's job is to win games. Mm-hmm. But the drafting and some of the signing and some of the trading has been awful with John Robinson. And I think they know this, but I would say to me that right now, Derrick has made up for a lot of that, right? Mm-hmm. Like the fact that they don't have a right tackle, and they've used 2 high picks on a right tackle over the last couple of years. And over the last couple of years, neither of those 2 right tackles can play right tackle. Well, it's not a problem because they keep putting practice squad guys at tackle, and Derek keeps running for 2,000 yards. So, hey, good job, everybody. But McNichols, you're going to need an offensive line to block for those guys. And now we're going to be looking at John Robinson when Dylan Radins has to go in the game because Nate Davis is out. We're going to be looking at John Robinson and say, how come Tannehill just got sacked when the guy ran right through Radins and hit the quarterback? So and I'll say this about Robinson because we've been on him a lot, and I think everybody's been on him a lot. Autry's pretty good.
Yeah.
Bud Dupree's looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I struggle personally with, this is just me, I struggle personally with the fact that, Robinson makes some really good picks and some really good signings, and he makes some really bad picks. And there's almost no in-between. And I am worried that that's going to rear its ugly head without Derrick Henry. So I am with the caller there that I do think there's going to be some people, some coaches, some players, some guys that are exposed when you're asked to do more that can't do more. I'll give you an example. When Delaney Walker got hurt, and I remember saying, because Delaney caught something like 80 passes in 2017. He gets hurt in 2018. And I remember saying to Floyd, how are they going to replace these 80 passes or 70 passes or whatever it was Delaney caught? And he said, well, everybody's just going to have to chip in and do more. Corey's going to have more. Taywan Taylor's going to have more. You can't ask Jonnu Smith to take all the catches that Delaney Walker was supposed to get. And so what ended up happening was Corey Davis became the number one receiver that year for that team. And they started throwing the ball to Dion Lewis a little bit. And they were throwing the ball to Jonnu Smith. And they were throwing the ball to Ferkser. And they went out and they got Adam Humphries to throw the ball to in the slot. And they were adding guys. Taywan Taylor never caught up. Taywan Taylor never did it. He was a third-round pick who was supposed to, be a deep threat and a wide receiver. And Taywan never picked up enough of the Delaney slack. So that the next year, Adam Humphries was signed. A.J. Brown was drafted. Now Taywan doesn't have a spot on the team. And now Taywan Taylor's gone, and he can't find a job in the NFL. And I do think that that's what this injury is going to do for some guys, which is it's going to expose them without Derek of, hey, you can't play in the NFL. Or, hey, there are too many guys on this team that are not good enough or are too dependent upon Derek. And I think the $30 million quarterback is part of that too, where at the end of the day, you make $30 million, and I know that Derek's not there, but you're going to have to go perform because you make $30 million, and we all think you should go perform.
And I do worry about John Robinson as well, is that, yes, I mean, after the season, he will have 6 winning seasons in 6 years as the Titans general manager and making the postseason in most of those years. And that's incredibly impressive. But what worries me is how much more difficult that he makes it on himself because he cannot draft, because he gives up draft picks to pick up free agents that aren't able to contribute to this team. Because how easy would it be if Dylan Radins could come in and be the offensive lineman that they thought he could have been? How much easier would the Titans' lives be? Wouldn't have to worry about Roger Saffold getting hurt every single week. Wouldn't have to worry about Taylor Lewan with a concussion. You would have more depth there. It just makes it so much more difficult on himself with the drafting.
The other thing that I think has to be discussed on the Robinson front is at what point do the Titans start thinking about firing their doctors? Because
that's another thing.
Because Darrington Evans, he can't stay healthy. Fulton can't stay healthy. Farley can't stay healthy. I mean, they draft all these guys that can't stay healthy. I mean, at some point it's got to be you, right? How are these doctors clearing all these guys that can't stay healthy and thus can't contribute? Which I think is another thing they got to look at. Mm-hmm. We're right to your phones on the deadline next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. TD has tweeted at me. Here's what TD said. He said, I flamed you on your own show about more than just Julio Jones. Also, I never said he wasn't going to get hurt. I said when he's healthy, he's still an impactful player, and it was worth taking the chance to get him considering the status of that wide receiver group. TD, this was the argument. The argument was I said I wouldn't do it. That I was not interested in bringing in Julio Jones because he was old and he was hurt. And that I'd be willing to do it if the price would drop. So if you said, hey, you don't have to give up a second-round pick, but you take on the salary, I would think about it. Or you don't take on the salary, but you have to give up a pick, I think about it. But I'm not doing both. And I never changed. And I said, they're not doing it. They shouldn't do it. And then they did it. And this is the one thing. I mean, I know everybody got mad. And you and I held our ground about the Julio thing, and now nobody gives us any credit about being so incredibly right about it when we got so incredibly criticized at the time. That's all I'm saying.
And to TD's point, I think Julio Jones could be a very impactful player if he's healthy. But that's such a big if he's healthy, because he's not healthy, and he can't contribute.
He's been healthy for one game.
Yes.
Like
that's what
game.
I'm saying.
So, but like that whole but if he could be, that's not how football's played.
But the game that he was healthy, he had a great game.
He did have a great game.
But he just can't stay healthy. That's the problem. I'm not saying that Julio's a bad player. I'm just saying he can't contribute if he's hurt.
Is there any feeling towards the reality that Julio could get healthy? Like, do you have any? Because I heard the Midday Show talking yesterday, and they were like, now Julio's got to step up. And I'm like, the dude can't get on the field.
I don't think it's a matter of Julio's effort or Julio not wanting to step up. Because
that wasn't my question. My question was, can he get it on the field? And you have faith that he can be on the field.
And health-wise?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Then none of it matters.
I mean, I might be wrong. I'm not a doctor. I haven't seen his X-rays.
He's not trying to be hurt, but none of it matters. That's why you don't pick Caleb Farley in the first round. That's why nobody else did. Because it doesn't. Well, if he didn't. That's what matters. Oh, my. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. And I understand, TD wasn't the only person. He's just the one who comes on the show all the time. But everybody
He was not alone.
Chris Sanders was with us in the whole, don't do it. But I think Chris was worried about the locker room more so than anything else. But,
Which I'm not inside the Titans locker room, but it hasn't seemed to be an issue.
The Titans are in deep trouble for a lot of reasons that don't have to do with that Julio trade. Like the fact that they didn't go get another wide receiver, and in the last two great wide receiver drafts, they have Des Fitzpatrick. But I do think that they have more problems now because of the Julio trade than they had expected, which were the problems that we were worried about when we said don't make that trade. 615-737-1025. We continue as we get closer to the trade deadline. Again, I don't know what TD said, but he just said, I'll let him continue to be the mayor of Wrongville. I do kind of like that.
You are the mayor of Wrongville.
No. Although that Giants-Chiefs pick yesterday was not.
You were the mayor of Wrongville last
I'm
May.
so done with the Chiefs now. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Coming up next, we'll get to your text. And is Jeremy McNichols deserving of a chance to be the starting running back? Just a chance. We'll discuss. Join stars for this year's Cherish the Night Unplugged event tomorrow at Marathon Music Works. This year's lineup is incredible, featuring Gordon Kennedy, Charles Eston, and Danny Flowers, with a special presentation of the Troy Gentry Compassion Award to the Young Fables. To learn more and to register, go to starsnashville.org.
Tonight,
Johansson shoots and scores. Ryan Johansson and the Predators are up 3-0.
Ryan Johansson and the Nashville Predators kick off their road trip north of the border against the Calgary Flames. Pre-game at 7, face-off at 8
on ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Is it time to fix your roof? Trust the roofers with integrity. E2 Roofing is a veteran-owned and operated local roofer that has built the reputation of delivering better service. E2 assists customers with roof repair and replacements through their insurance claim assistance, which has awarded them with 95-star Google ratings and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Find out if insurance will pay for your new roof with a free inspection at e2roofingnashville.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Joe Rexrode here for FanDuel Sportsbook. Hey, we're right around the halfway point of the NFL season. FanDuel wants you to get the most out of every play, and that's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. Thursday night, great opportunity to give it a try. All you got to do is bet a same-game parlay, 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Looking at Jets, Colts. Whew, I definitely like the Colts. I think I like Jonathan Taylor, big over on the rushing yards. That would be one of my legs on a same-game parlay. So many other things on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, which is easy to use, safe and secure, and so fast that your money in as as little as 2 hours. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay. Lock it in. Get up $10 back if your bet doesn't win. And if you're new, sign up with promo code Joe102 and also get 30-1 enhanced odds on either team to win during Sunday's game between Green Bay and Kansas City. That's $150 potentially on a $5 bet. That's promo code Joe102 so they know I sent you. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and web. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line. 800-889-9789.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, Craneworks. The Craneworks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give Craneworks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call Craneworks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
Treating erectile dysfunction with acoustic wave therapy has been getting a lot of attention lately. But you should know that some are promising results we just haven't seen and charging a lot of money for the treatments as well. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. And if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, you really should call us first. Unlike wave therapy only clinics, the Tennessee Men's Clinic wave therapy protocols do use acoustic wave technology. But we also often combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedure required. And even better, depending on your treatment strategy and with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment. We even have other treatments that can help you last up to an hour. Plus, for a limited time, we're waiving our normal appointment charge, which includes a PSA and T test, and offering a free ultrasound, altogether nearly a $400 value for free. So make an appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
Tonight.
Struck him out, and the Astros came roaring back to send this World Series back to Houston.
It's the all-important Game 6 of the World Series between the Atlanta Braves and Houston Astros from Minute Maid Park. Coverage begins at 6
on ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app. Brought to you locally by 312 Pizza Company in Germantown.
Hey Nashville, this is new Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Seeing in McNichols and maybe Hilliard, who's now on board, and even Sargent.
You know, Jeremy, since he's been here, whether that's in the active roster, the practice squad, coming back to us, has always just done whatever the team needed him to do. Be on special teams, run the football, protect. You know, he's got a certain level of toughness that we respect. He's done a nice job in protection. He's done a nice job in the screen game. You know, Ryan made an absolutely great throw to Jeremy and a great catch to get us in that 4th and 1 situation that we were able to convert yesterday. I mean, that was a huge play, you know, scrambling to Ryan's left and Jeremy becoming available and making a nice catch. I mean, that's a huge play, and there's a lot of plays like that Jeremy's had. So we got confidence in him.
That was Vrabel asked about the 3 running backs, and now he did talk about the other 2 guys. By the way, Sargent has been cut from the practice squad. Joe.
What did Joe say about Mekhi Sargent?
So I didn't know this. Apparently, Joe loved Mekhi Sargent, like during training camp.
And also Nick Westbrook-Akina?
Well, Joe wrote the article about Westbrook-Akina, but he loved apparently Sargent, and I didn't know this. Like Mark Howard said this to me at like a pregame show after Sargent got sent to the practice squad. And he was like, I thought about holding a candle for Joe. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, Sargent, that's his guy. And then when I was in the car with my dad driving from Atlanta yesterday, listening to the breaking news reaction, and Joe said, well, Sargent, he was the only person over like a 2-hour period that brought up Mekhi Sargent's name, and he did it like 8 times. So, sorry, Joe.
Sorry, Joe.
But you heard right there the full endorsement Vrabel gave Jeremy McNichols yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an accident. I think Jeremy McNichols is the running back of the Titans. Think about this. Any other position, the starter goes down, guess who's going in?
Next man up.
The backup. And here, it's like nobody is willing to entertain the idea that Jeremy McNichols could be the number 1 running back of the Titans. But I think that's where you are. It's like, well, but to replace King Henry? Yes.
Well, someone's got to do it.
Just like how Brett Hundley had to replace Aaron Rodgers. Just like how Cooper Rush had to replace Dak Prescott. Just like Matt Castle had to replace Tom Brady. Jim Sorgi and Dan Orlovsky had to replace Peyton Manning. Jacoby Brissett had to replace Andrew Luck. That's where you are. I know, it's crazy. Now, here's the thing. Derek, I think, was getting it like 24 times a game. I don't think McNichols is going to get it 24 times a game. No. I think McNichols is going to get it like 17, 16 times a game.
That's still a lot.
And Adrian Peterson or Foreman or both of them are going to combine for like the other 8 carries. And that's what I think they're going to do. But I said this yesterday, and I stand by it. I think Jeremy McNichols has earned the opportunity to get the ball as the running back of the Titans. That doesn't mean that I think Jeremy McNichols is going to go to Los Angeles and run for 200 yards. That doesn't mean that I think that he's going to be Derrick Henry. But I do think he's earned the opportunity to be the starting running back while Derrick Henry is out. And I think all this is moot if Derrick doesn't come back, because I don't think you can win in the playoffs with anybody who's out there or anybody you could add. But that's where I sit right now on McNichols. I don't think the fans feel as confident in McNichols.
I don't know. I'm getting the vibe in the text line that a lot of people are leaning toward not trading for a running back, which would then mean that they are confident in this running back by committee with Adrian Peterson, with Jeremy McNichols. I just based off of the text line, based on some of the comments that we have on social media, I would disagree with you.
One of my friends texted me and says, I don't think he can take that beating.
That's a big workload.
You got to give him a chance.
Yes, but how many carries is he getting now? 4 or 5?
Something like that.
And to expect 16 to 18?
Yep.
That's a pretty big jump. And I understand this is the NFL.
How many snaps is Logan Woodside getting right now?
0.
Okay. Ryan Tannehill goes down. How many snaps is he getting now?
All of them.
Okay. Like, that's how backup, that's what backup works. That's how it works.
I know how it works.
Like, if I use the third base analogy, Derek's your third baseman. Derek is Pete Rose without the gambling. Derek is Pete Rose. If Pete goes down, someone's going in who's not as good as Pete. And that's what's happening here.
But if a ball gets hit to third base, if a third baseman needs to make a play, they have no other option but to make a play. You don't have to give the ball to the running back every single play, 18 touches a game, if you don't think that he can do that.
Well, what are you going to do? Start throwing it more?
I don't know.
Vrabel told
Trade
you yesterday.
for a running back.
Vrabel told you yesterday he's not going to do that.
Trade for a running back. Because, okay, if you give Jeremy McNichols a chance, which I think that he deserves a chance, and it sounds like Mike Vrabel is going to give him that. What if he can't do it? Are you going to rely on Adrian Peterson?
Yes.
Does that make you feel good?
What did I tell you? If Derrick Henry doesn't come back, what happens?
You lose.
If Jeremy McNichols can't do this, what happens?
You lose.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
That's the reality. There's not a second plan behind it.
I mean, we've got 13 minutes to see if there's a plan behind it.
What if you trade away every pick and you go for it this year and you don't win the Super Bowl this year? What happens in future years?
You're not going to trade away every pick.
But what happens in future years?
You don't have any picks and you're going to lose.
You lose. That's the reality of it. Like, that's the one thing.
But I'm not asking the Titans to trade away every single pick.
And fans have such a hard time dealing with this. Of like well, then what if Soros can't go and it's the day of the game and you lose? That's what happens. You lose.
But what if you can do something to avoid that?
But see, I don't think there's anybody out there that makes enough of a difference for it to matter for the pick that you would give up.
Okay.
Like, I don't think there's one person out there. Would I rather have them give the ball to Josh Jacobs? Yes, I would rather have them give the ball to Josh Jacobs. Would I rather have them give the ball to
Dalvin Cook?
Sure,
that'd be nice.
I'd love it.
That'd be great.
You're not getting those guys. The guys you're getting are like Adrian Peterson. Now, if this was a week ago, you maybe could have had Mark Ingram for a 6th, and I think you probably would have done it. But that's the scenario you find yourself in. Your calls leading up to the deadline, your text as well, 615-737-1025. Stillman & Company, we are delivered by TriStar Moving right here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Let me tell all the fine folks out there, listen to the Major League Baseball postseason on ESPN 1025 The Game and 94.9, brought to you by 312 Pizza Company. Tune in to Game 6 tonight on ESPN 94.9 as the Braves take on the Houston Astros. First pitch, 7:09. 312 Pizza Company in Germantown is home home to the best pizza in Nashville. Head to 312 Pizza Company to grab a bite, a beer, and watch some November baseball. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon, but chilly. High only 53 degrees, and we stay in the upper 40s and lower 50s for highs for the rest of the week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Celebrate Thanksgiving with Social Furniture and save up to 70% off all furniture. They have sofas, sectionals with chase lounge, and recliners that are all push-button electric and wall away. They have all colors to choose from for your comfort watching any hockey game. All of them are plus leather, microfiber, and Chanel's. They have same-day delivery with no down payments and no interest. Forget the big box store. Support local. Support social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear Conti-Tech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE, 615-895-HOSE.
Got chronic joint pain? Not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way. And now it's available here from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Hey, Willie Donick here. I'm talking about new therapies. Advanced, all-natural, regenerative treatments that can not only just give you relief, but can also restore and repair damaged tissue, so you can have lasting relief. If you've got joint pain due to arthritis, knee pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, don't just think the old ways of dealing with pain are the only ways. You need to learn more about these new biologic therapy solutions. Call now for a free consultation. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. These remarkable new treatments increase mobility, decrease pain, and help restore tissue. They actually encourage your body to heal itself. Call now and learn more about these restorative, regenerative, and revolutionary alternatives. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Want to have the most delicious Thanksgiving meal ever and not deal with the cleanup? Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel will have a family-style meal with a menu that makes your mouth water just thinking about it. Herb butter roasted Joyce Farms turkey breast with gravy, or sorghum glazed ham, smashed Yukon Gold potatoes, biscuits and sage dressing waffles, green bean casserole, and southern corn pudding. Make your Thanksgiving easy this year at Kitchen Notes in the Omni. Go to OpenTable.com and make your reservations now.
Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey is the official whiskey of the NFL pregame broadcast on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Screwball is the original and most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world. Made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, Screwball is all natural flavor to be enjoyed as a straight shot, in an espresso martini, peanut butter old fashioned, or a PB&J shot with a berry liqueur. Check out screwballwhiskey.com/recipes for more. Be sure and ask for Screwball by name at your favorite watering hole in Nashville.
Enjoy responsibly. 2021 Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Robbie Stanley.
Coming in off the water. Yeah. Coming in there to tailgate.
Joe Rexrode.
That was fun.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Midway through the season, how much can a team change its offense, and how much would you want to change, I guess, the style of offense?
Well, I don't know how much, we're going to change. It's just by, adding some things and doing some different things with who we have in there. Not ready to commit to anything or a wholesale change. So a lot of teams that, that rely on multiple backs, to run the football. Within their same scheme.
There you go. That was Vrabel. We're not changing. We're running. And I think Jeremy McNichols is the guy. I promised phones, but Adrian Peterson, I think this is kind of big news. Adrian Peterson will wear number 8 for the Titans. Previously worn by Johnny Townsend, the punter, but obviously, more notably, recently worn by Marcus Mariota. So Adrian Peterson will wear number 8, and my disdain for running backs, wide receivers, and linebackers wearing single-digit numbers will continue for forever and into eternity.
I don't know why that bugs you so much.
I hate it so much, especially
Why?
because the first game that I saw it and noticed it was Arizona.
Yeah.
Where they have number 2 is the running back and number 1 is the quarterback, and it drives me nuts. You know,
I think you're being a little dramatic about it.
the running back is like 24. Quarterback is like 13. I don't like linebacker. I hate a big linebacker that's got like a 1 digit on there. It looks
Why?
it looks awful.
Why?
Awful.
You're calling linebackers fat.
No, they're big. They all know they're big. They're big. 5 minutes to the trade deadline. Look, I don't think the Titans are going to make a trade.
No, probably not.
But we will see. Joel is up next here on Stillman and Company. Thank you for calling the show. Go ahead, Joel.
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing today?
Good. Give us your take.
Hey, I'm curious if you think we could pull off one for Kenyon Drake. I just know that
no.
they have Josh Jacobs out there in Oakland. You don't think
So, no, they paid, thank you for your call. They paid him an exorbitant amount of money. I mean, I don't know what it was, but it was one of those Gruden Mayock stupidity specials where they gave Kenyon Drake an ungodly amount of money in spite of the fact that they have Josh Jacobs as their running back. You don't have the cap space for that. So I don't see any chance of you doing that. Plus, the Raiders, this is going to sound crazy to people because they've talked about Marlon Mack and, the Colts would never trade Marlon Mack to you. And that might be true. The Raiders right now are more of your competition than the Colts are your competition right now.
Yeah, I would probably say that's fair.
So I would keep, a mind on that one. What do we have in the text line?
Josh in Florida texts in and says, do you think the Titans should trade Josh Reynolds for a DB or a good pass-blocking tight end or a better wide receiver? We don't use Josh Reynolds.
So I've always had this weird feeling about, how guys will not trade you players that are any good for something that you don't want. Floyd used to always say that a guy gets traded for 4 reasons. 1, not a good player. 2, not a good person. 3, hurt. 4, makes too much money. So I'll use a baseball example because it's on the top of my mind. If the Braves win the World Series tonight, there's a chance that Eddie Rosario is going to be the World Series MVP on top of being the NLCS MVP. But Rosario was never that good when he was with Cleveland. But they took on somebody the Braves didn't want, Pablo Sandoval, because they were able to get out from the $8 million that they owed Rosario. So he made too much money. And that's why they traded him for nothing. You can't take on somebody who makes too much money because you have $3.9 million in cap space. So you can't afford to do that. And you can't take on somebody who's injured all the time because you need guys that are healthy. And you can't take on bad players because you need good players. So you want to get rid of a good player or get rid of a bad player and you want to get a good player. And that's not how sports works. That never happens unless there's something you see in that guy that the other team doesn't see. What's next?
Tom texts in and says, I think it is highly unlikely that Derrick Henry will return this season. He sent in an article and says it's
Dr.
a good description of the injury. Said it doesn't make sense for the team or him to risk a second fracture and end his career. We just need to do the best the Titans can and not trade draft assets.
People seem to forget that in his second year in the NBA, Michael Jordan risked his career to play basketball because he wanted to play. And that's how these guys are. Derrick knows how old he is. Derrick knows that the entire offensive line is probably gone at the end of the year. Derrick knows that the middle linebackers are gone at the end of the year. Derrick knows that stuff. I personally, now, I could be crazy. Just what I heard from Stephania Bell yesterday, and I will take what Stephania says with me as, I don't want to say scripture, but, I take it pretty seriously.
I trust Stephania more than anyone on Twitter.
And her reluctance to really commit something for you when she doesn't know the patient and they hadn't gone in there until this morning. I'm going to take what she said, which was in 6 weeks, you'll know if it's healing properly. If it's healing properly, he'll come back this season. Probably if he can deal with the pain. He's going to deal with the pain. I know Derrick Henry well enough to know he's going to play through the pain. I think Derrick comes back this year. Maybe I'm optimistic. Maybe I'm a homer. I don't know. I think Derrick comes back. Coming up next, on the other side, did the Titans make a trade? We will know if they did or if they didn't. We will react to the trade that they did make or the trade that they did not make. So we will do that coming up next, plus other movement around the league. So we'll do that next. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game. And, of course, we are streaming on the Game Nashville app. And let me tell everybody out there to join us in partnering with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society for Light the Night. Light the Night brings light to the darkness of cancer through hope, research, and support for patients and families. Nashville's Light the Night will be virtual and take place this Thursday at 7 o'clock. Learn more at lightthenight.org/TN.
Take us wherever you may go.
There is going to be a whole lot of work going on.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime.
I think he has some big play in him.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Now's the time to get a great deal on Kubota construction equipment featuring durable Kubota engines, more comfort, more productivity, more get it done right. The Kubota construction lineup shows up ready to work every day. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 60 months. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and final sale of the year is here this weekend. It's an incredible event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers are here with expanded collections and extraordinary pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35% this Friday, Saturday, and yes, open Sunday for this great event. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal, and it's happening this weekend. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers here from LA and New York with their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Mortgage rates are on the move. Don't miss the chance to lock in the best rate of your lifetime with my friends at Loan Pronto. Hey, Willie Donick here. Call Loan Pronto today and take advantage of their super popular zero-cost refi program. So many people are doing this. You can get a rate with an APR in the low 2s with no junk fees, no closing costs. Yes, they pay your closing costs, even if you refinanced 6 months ago. Loan Pronto's all-digital process is fast and easy. Virtually no paperwork required. And most loans get closed in 14 days. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto now and start the process. Don't wait on rates to spike again. If your current APR is over 2.75, call now for a free 30-second quote. 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender. NMLS 16617. 781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible for zero-cost option.
Treating erectile dysfunction with acoustic wave therapy has been getting a lot of attention lately. But you should know that some are promising results we just haven't seen and charging a lot of money for the treatments as well. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. And if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, you really should call us first. Unlike wave therapy-only clinics, the Tennessee Men's Clinic wave therapy protocols do use acoustic wave technology, but we also often combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedure required. And even better, depending on your treatment strategy and with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment. We even have other treatments that can help you last up to an hour. Plus, for a limited time, we're waiving our normal appointment charge, which includes a PSA and T test, and offering a free ultrasound, altogether nearly a $400 value for free. So make an appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ-HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. The trade deadline has come and gone. The Titans have made no trades and will make no trades this year at the trade deadline. I think it was the right move. I don't think they have anything to trade. And I think everything is all cognizant upon whether or not Derrick Henry comes back. As I told you yesterday, if Derrick comes back at the end of the year and he plays against the Dolphins and he plays against the Texans and he plays in the playoffs, then I think you have a shot. If Derrick Henry doesn't come back this year, then I think you will lose in the first round of the playoffs. And maybe you'll win one game, but you're not going to win 3 games in order to get to the Super Bowl, which is what it would take. And I can live with that. I can live with that being the reality of the situation the Titans find themselves in. Some people can't. Some people are like, what's going to happen, Jared, if we get to the playoffs? You don't have Derrick. You lose. You lose. Just like if the Green Bay Packers are going towards the playoffs and Aaron Rodgers, knock on wood, breaks his leg. You lose. Dallas Cowboys lose Dak. You can beat Minnesota. You're not going to beat Arizona. That's the situation that every good team finds themselves in with their star players. And your star player, this is going to sound crazy. This might be the perfect time for Derrick to have gotten hurt.
If you had to pick a time, yes, because you're past both games with Indy. You're past that stretch with the Chiefs and the Bills.
What was the betting odds you told me about for the AFC South?
Titans are currently favored minus 1,600 to win the AFC South.
That's like 3-1 odds. That's like what? 16-1 for anybody else?
If not more.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
The division is yours.
Yes.
I think those are enough time, in theory, for Derrick to come back.
Those are the best odds of any division where it stands right now.
So that's where they are. They didn't make a trade. Running back, McNichols, Peterson, Foreman, Blasingame, Torrey Carter. Those are the 5 guys that are going to be on some level on your team. And then this Hilliard kid that is on the practice squad. Those 6 that's your running back room right now. That's what they're going to be stuck with. And I would also like to note that I was just looking at Ian Rappaport's Twitter on the league-owned NFL Network, and Ian has more tweets about guys who didn't get traded than he does guys who did get traded. Deshaun Watson did not get traded today. Fletcher Cox did not get traded today.
Evan Ingram did not get traded today.
Marlon Mack did not get traded today. So, I mean, I'm honestly looking for the last Ian Rappaport tweet that involved a trade. Charles Omenihu was traded from the Texans to the 49ers. That's it. Melvin Ingram got traded today for a 6th-round pick to the Chiefs. That's it.
Dan Brown got traded to the Chiefs.
Who's that?
Tight end from the Jets.
Okay. And I don't even know who that is. That's like yesterday I was listening to Darren Donick and Chase, and they were talking about, bringing in a running back named Mike Boone. And I'm like, and Darren's like, someone texts into the text line and says, what about Mike Boone? And Darren starts talking about Mike Boone's career. And I text Chase, and I just go,
know who that is.
I go, who the F is Mike Boone? And Chase, so then Darren talks, and then Darren rounds us all up by going, I don't even know who the hell this is. And he's like, Chase, do you know who Mike Boone is? And Chase is like, I've never heard of Mike Boone.
Mike Boone sounds like an injury lawyer, like in Birmingham.
Did you get hurt today?
Call Mike Boone. The law offices of Mike Boone. Did you or a loved one get in a car accident?
Who the hell is Mike Boone? So the Titans did not make any trades, including for Mike Boone.
Bummer.
Dude,
tough loss for Mike Boone. I'm sure he's a wonderful guy. Mike Boone.
I learned all about Mike Boone when Darren was talking about him, and I can't remember a single thing.
How does Darren know who he is?
No, Darren was reading his Wikipedia or something.
Oh, okay.
And so Darren was like, somebody texts in and says Mike Boone. And I'm sitting there like, who the hell is Mike Boone?
So, whatever texter texted in had to be in the depths of the internet.
Well, like, there are players in the league that I have never heard of.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of players there are good players that I've never heard of. Like when you said Dan Brown got drafted, I'm like, who's that? But like, there are a lot of guys in the league. So I'm like, Mike Boone. You know, and most of these guys, like, I remember where they played in college at least.
Like, you recognize the name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, okay. I remember, like, Darnay Holmes made a tackle yesterday for the Giants. I remember TD was all about him when he was a corner at UCLA, you know, going after the draft.
Right.
And I'm like, who is Mike Boone? And Darren starts reading off, like, the life history of Mike Boone. And then finally he's like, yeah, I've never heard of this guy. So the Titans made no trades. You okay with that? You wanted a trade earlier today.
Well, I thought that it would have been good running back insurance because I'm with you. I do think that McNichols deserves a shot at the starting running back role. He deserves that. But to ask him to run the ball 16 to 18 times a game, physically, I don't know if he can do that. He very well could, and we just haven't seen it from him yet. I just don't know how feasible that is to go from 4 to 5 carries a game to 16 to 18. So I think that the Titans should have traded at least for a little bit of running back insurance if they are going to continue to be a run-first team, which they are going to.
And you don't think Grandpa Peterson doesn't count as the insurance?
Papa AD? No,
Yeah.
I don't.
And Deontay Foreman?
Well, maybe he's the
who
insurance.
apparently can't play for another team except for the Titans.
I mean, if you are relying on 100,000-year-old Adrian Peterson and another player who cannot make another team in the league, they may be putting all of their stake into McNichols, and that's fine. If they think that Jeremy McNichols can do that for this team, then great. I just would have preferred a little bit more insurance in the run game.
I just don't think the insurance matters. Like, even if you had brought in another running back, you would have traded a pick that could have been a good player. Like, Chris Jackson was a 7th-round pick. And for a 7th-round pick, I think Chris Jackson's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I'd rather go try to get another Chris Jackson with that pick next year in the draft than with adding a 4th running back who is as whatever as all these other guys.
What about a tight end?
I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Titans and tight end. I really don't. Like, clearly, they don't have a starting caliber tight end on the roster. Pruitt is obviously the best tight end they have because he's the only one that can do both block and catch. Ferkser can't block. Swaim really can't catch. I mean, Swaim can stand there, and you could throw it to him, and then he falls down. Like, Lorenzo Neal did that, but Lorenzo Neal was a fullback and a great blocking fullback. Mm-hmm. Swaim is an average to below average blocking tight end. He's a terrible pass catcher.
Unless it's in the end zone at Indianapolis.
Unless he's just standing there and just catches it and falls down. He's just, oh, goodness. There was one where Tannehill threw to him and he caught it, and like he was totally covered, and Ferkser was wide open, or McNichols, or one of them was wide open in the flat. It was like 3rd and 2, and Tannehill threw it like to a covered Swaim who was like draped, and he caught it, and the guy was standing wide. I think it was Ferkser, wide open in the flat. I'm like, flat, and he just didn't throw it. This is going to be my one yearly annual moment where I tell people the NFL trade deadline. You have to understand something. The NFL trade deadline is nothing like the trade deadline in these other sports. I think what's happened is all the other sports and the Lego networks get a little bit of a kiss from trade deadline talk. Like 2 years ago in 2019, when the Predators traded for Mikhail Granlund and Wayne Simmons, we did 4 hours of talking about the trade deadline, and our streaming numbers that day were through the freaking roof. We did 4 hours of it. And I didn't even know who like Granlund was, and neither did Floyd. And we did it for 4 hours, and it was because that matters in that sport.
Mm-hmm.
In basketball, it matters. Because basketball, like, they change rosters, you know, at the trade deadline.
Baseball, it matters.
Matters in baseball. You know, Max Scherzer and Trey Turner in one trade getting traded to the Yankees and the
Joey
Dodgers
Gallo going to the
always,
Yankees.
They're all like the Yankees.
Rizzo
are
going to
always
the
getting
Yankees.
players.
Chicago trading away all their good players.
But it doesn't matter. And so it's a big day for the MLB network to talk about the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
But it never matters in the NFL. Like, it never. Charles Omenihu is the best player that got traded at the trade deadline.
Well, all respect to Charles.
That's it.
We don't know where Mike Boone ended up. He also could have gotten traded.
I don't think Mike Boone's on a team to get traded.
Well, I would have no idea.
I don't think Mike Boone knows that's a person. But, like, that's – so the NFL trade deadline, and what's happened is these networks, and they've kind of gotten into it to, like, selling you the idea that the trade deadline could matter because it's like, Who are you going to sign at the trade deadline? The Athletic lays it out, and it's like, this is the NFL.
Well, it makes The Athletic and ESPN's job
right.
easier
ESPN has
on
like a
Tuesday.
ticker that's talking about who's going to get traded today, and they could spend all day talking about Deshaun Watson. But the reality is that would have been the biggest move, and that didn't even happen.
And Deshaun Watson could have gotten traded today, and that's a huge story.
Sure.
But he didn't.
But it's more of like...
And that's even a story that he didn't get traded.
The other sports, there's actual, like, stake. Like, there's actual stake.
There's meat on the bone.
And there's not at all in the NFL with that trade deadline. 615-737-1025, but we will get to your reactions. The running back room is set. It is McNichols. It is Paul Peterson. And it is Deontay Foreman. And I actually like Deontay Foreman. But that is what it is. It'd be really nice, though, if the Titans could get the benefit of another trade that they've already made. Julio. We'll get into that coming up next here on Stillman & Company. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to get in right here on Stillman & Company. This Friday, it's your chance to participate in the Nashville SC Pick to Click, brought to you by Camarena Tequila. If you guess correctly which player scores a goal in the game on Sunday, you will win a Nashville SC prize pack. Participate this Friday morning at 9:45 a.m. And let me tell you that 94.9 is the official English radio home of the Nashville Soccer Club. Listen in this Sunday as Nashville SC takes on New York Red Bull at Nissan Stadium. Pregame at 2:15, and the match begins at 2:30. Stillman & Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The Titans season has taken a turn with the Derrick Henry injury.
I'm sure Derrick Henry was saying, I'm not coming out of this game. This is a big game. But he was not right. The whole game, you could tell.
For all the latest on the King.
You're not going to be able to replace Derrick Henry. He's the equivalent of a franchise quarterback in the league.
Keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
During Lowe's Provember event, new members of their loyalty program get a welcome kit via mail now through November 24th. Lowe's, the new home for pros, U.S. only.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
Ryan Porth back again to tell you about Dr. Kelly Rice, Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine.
I was reading some stats recently, Dr. Rice, and I did not realize the ADA says that 80% of people in the U.S. have some form of gum disease.
That's right, Ryan, but our non-surgical periodontal therapy is painless and effective in keeping your mouth healthy, and the mouth is the window to the health of the rest of the body.
What else is new and different at Cool Springs Laser Dentistry?
Well, first, who doesn't want whiter teeth? Our new Zoom LED whitening system is less sensitive, and you get more than 5 shades of whitening. And we just upgraded both our lasers to kill bacteria during your cleaning.
Some people get painful cold sores. Can lasers help that too?
Yes, the gentle laser setting will kill the virus in your cold sores all naturally while reducing the healing time by half. And our special soft tissue wand uses warm, light laser therapy to give instant relief to severe TMJ pain. Our approach to holistic dentistry is unique.
Give them a call today at 615-373-4488 or visit kellyerice.com. You'll be glad you did.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and final sale of the year is here this weekend. It's an incredible event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers are here with expanded collections and extraordinary pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35% this Friday, Saturday, and yes, open Sunday for this great event. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details. details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal, and it's happening this weekend. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers here from LA and New York with their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Whatever you piece together in the backfield, how maybe crucial is it now for Julio to surface and be part of the pass?
Well, I think everybody. I think everybody. We'll have to block better. We'll have to throw better. We'll have to call better games, and not just one person. We need everybody. We'll need everybody in all three phases. So whoever wasn't with us on Sunday, we'll have to try to get them back out there as soon as we can to help us moving forward.
That was Mike Vrabel with, I think, honestly, a fair answer when asked about how much does Julio Jones have to step up now that Derrick Henry's out. Vrabel saying everybody's got to step up. We got to block better. We got to coach better. We got to play better. I do think that's part of it. I think Derrick made everybody's life a lot easier, made everybody else look better. You know me. I got mad after the Monday Night Football game when everybody in the Bills game was like, everybody deserves the credit for that. Nah, let's not give credit where credit is not due. And, I think you've seen some personal things where I see people getting credit that I don't think should get credit, and I get mad about that.
Yes.
Well,
you do get awfully mad about it.
I think Derrick has given a lot of people a sense of security or a sense of comfort for things that they've done that perhaps they have not done.
Well, and I think I'm guilty of it, too, of taking him for granted, of just expecting Derrick Henry to run for 150 yards, for 200 yards whenever the Titans need him to, because that's just what he does. It's not what a normal running back does.
I can never blame myself for taking Derrick for granted because I never did, but I also think there's probably a part of me that would say now if you bought tickets to the Jacksonville game and the Houston game because I screamed on the radio about how can there be all these tickets available to get to watch Derrick Henry now I think I feel kind of bad.
Now you pocket watch too hard.
Do you think you could call the Titans and be like, hey, I bought these $80 tickets to watch Derrick Henry play against the Texans, and now he's not going to play. Can I have my money back?
They would say, oh, sorry, wrong number.
Do you think they would?
No.
You don't think that they would? You don't think that they'd give you your ticket back?
Why would they? They would say, well, we have a bunch of other really great players out on the field. You're not getting your money back? No. Maybe you have to reimburse them because you probably guilt-tripped them into buying tickets.
I feel bad about it. Do you think the expectations for Julio Jones have changed? And by that, I don't mean our expectations for Julio because Julio is meeting my expectations. He is not healthy. And I said when they traded for him, this was going to happen. And so I don't get when he's not active for last Sunday's game, all I have to say is $15 million in a second-round pick, and he's not available for the biggest game of the season. There you go. To everybody in June, I told you, done. I mean, he is what he is, and this is what he is, and this is what it's going to be. So my expectations haven't changed. But do you think their expectations have changed given the fact that they don't have the number one guy on offense maybe in the NFL?
They're being the Titans?
Yes.
I don't think they can, because how can you expect more from someone if you know that they're injured? I think the fans' expectations for Julio has changed because, okay, one guy goes down. You were brought in to kind of be the savior, the key to this offense, that last missing piece to this offense. So now you've got to do it because we haven't seen it so far this year. So now it's on Julio. Now it's on AJ to play a bigger role. I don't understand how the Titans can expect more from Julio if he hasn't been in because of an injury. Then how can you say, hey, Julio, your hamstring's just got to magically heal itself and we're going to need to do more from you? I think they expected a lot from Julio at the beginning, but I don't think that their expectations, from last week, from the week before, have changed now that
Do you think the Titans would admit to you in an honest moment that they screwed up?
No, I don't think they screwed up.
See, I was listening to the midday show yesterday, and they were talking about, Darren was talking about how he thinks that Vrabel does not like Julio.
Why does he think that?
I guess it's just the way that Vrabel talks about Julio. You have to ask Darren about that. But Darren was saying that he thinks it's obvious to him that Vrabel does not like Julio. I I guess I struggle with this because
we had this conversation earlier in the season with the whole.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I did enough homework.
Debacle.
I did enough homework before the season to know that if Floyd Reese had been general manager of the Titans and had heard what I heard, and he would have heard what I heard because of where I heard it, that he would not have made the trade at all. Like, the trade would have been off. I do wonder if, like, all these concerns about Julio, like there was the talk about Mike Vrabel talking to Nick Saban and how that played a big role in him, deciding that they should try to acquire Julio. And I wonder if that was, well, there's all this smoke that he wasn't a good guy in Atlanta, and I don't know how we feel about it. So Vrabel talks to Saban, and Saban says, well, when I had him, he was a great guy, and he cared, and he was all this stuff. And so Vrabel said, okay, Coach Saban says it's in, so it's in. That's fine. But the Titans there talked themselves, I think, into it, whereas Floyd would have never done it because of what I heard. He would have heard that one story about Julio running off the field and a gadget play designed for him and been like, nope. And then, the whole injury thing, which he's so against injured people and injured players that he never would have done it. I think the Titans know they shouldn't have done it. I don't think Vrabel doesn't think Julio's tough enough. Though I have heard that there were coaches in Atlanta, and Arthur Blank said it, there were coaches in Atlanta that were really bothered by Julio's lack of desire to practice or even attend walkthroughs. Now, it sounds like he's been a model citizen here with the Titans, but I don't know that. But it sounds that way. But I can't imagine that Vrabel and Robinson would make the trade with all the risk that was associated with it. The risk then become a reality where Julio hurt the hamstring trying to make a tackle on an interception in the Colts game, and you then not like the guy because he's hurt, which was the risk that you took when you brought him in. That's my theory. I don't think they dislike Julio. I just don't think that they have any expectation for Julio to be more than what he is, which is consistently injured and maybe he'll give you the stats of a number 3 wide receiver. Maybe.
Unless there's something going on in the locker room that we don't know about, unless there's something personally going on between Vrabel and Julio that has made Vrabel have a distaste in his mouth toward Julio. But that's the kind of thing that, we're not going to know. But I don't think that there's any sort of animosity from Vrabel toward Julio because of Julio's production. Because they knew he was hurt. They know he's still hurt. How much can you ask of him? I think at this point, any production that you can get from Julio, if you can get a repeat performance of that Seattle game, then that's just a plus.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to your phone, 615-737-1025, phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Sean texts in and says, in my opinion, the Titans can win some of these next few games without Derrick Henry if the running back by committee can be good enough that the opposing teams still have to respect play action.
Don't you think that we should put this on Ryan Tannehill to beat these bad teams? I don't put it on Ryan Tannehill to go out there and beat the Rams Sunday night.
No.
But I do put it on Ryan Tannehill to make sure that you don't lose to the Dolphins, the Texans, or the Jags. And that's 4 games. So that's 10 wins right there. And then throw in one of those 3, Pittsburgh, New England, New Orleans. And New Orleans just lost their starting quarterback for the season. Tannehill at $30 million a year should be good enough to win you those games. And that running back by committee. And this is the thing about the NFL. If you don't have Derrick Henry, or you don't have Alvin Kamara, or you don't have Dalvin Cook, then it doesn't matter who your running back is. Then they're all the same. Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert, Elijah Mitchell? Is that the running back they have now?
That is correct.
Who? Yeah.
Elijah Mitchell. I see the Bears have a running back named Herbert I've never heard of.
Khalil Herbert, yep.
Never heard of him my entire life. So, there you go.
Here's role players.
Here's Johnny at running back, 133 yards. That is what happens at times in the NFL if you don't have a Derrick. So that you should be able to run the ball effectively enough, and Tannehill should be able to carry you to the finish line this season. Is it wrong to put it on Tannehill with his $30 million a year salary and the trust the Titans have given him that I would not have been willing to do? Do you think that it's fair for us to say, hey, it's up to you to get him to the finish line and then hope that Derrick comes back for the playoffs?
I think that's absolutely fair.
I agree.
It's kind of his job anyway every single game, that
like
job
if
is
Derek is there, it's your job to get
still
to the
your
finish line.
job.
But now that Derek's not here,
it's way more your job.
And look, I get it. Your second wide receiver's been hurt. You have no tight end and no right tackle. Your offensive line is a mess. And your star running back, your partner in crime, your, everything that you've been over the last...
The heartbeat of your offense.
Yes. You have to carry this team to the finish line.
Yeah. And Tannehill might be thinking, throw me a freaking bone here, but that's your job.
I'm going to say this. This time last year, I didn't think that I'd be finishing the radio show by myself. And I understand it is not the same thing, but it is a situation that I was put into that I certainly didn't want to be put in. And it certainly was a culture shock to me. And it certainly was something that I was unprepared for. And it was something that I couldn't tell any of you about. But I did it because that's the job. And I look at Tannehill, and I think that he is in a similar spot here where, for the last 3 years, it's been him and Derek.
Mm-hmm.
And they have fed off of each other. And now he's got to get you. I'm not asking you to go out there and beat the Rams this week. I'm not asking you to go out and win every game the rest of the way. I'm asking you to beat some of the worst teams in the NFL. You know the Dolphins right now are worse than the Texans?
Are they?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess they have one fewer win.
Well,
right?
No, the Texans have one win. It was against Jacksonville. So it was a divisional win.
Okay.
And I don't know who the Dolphins win came against, but I think it was some bum team. And so because of that, I don't think it was an AFC East. I don't know. I just saw the NFL playoff picture, had the Dolphins as the last team in the AFC. So that should tell you something pretty wild.
Yeah. I mean,
you know why they're the last team in the AFC? Because they lost Jacksonville.
They beat New England week 1. Miami, strangely enough.
That's interesting. I feel like there are so many of these teams. They have one loss against a crappy team if they're a good team, or this crappy team has one win against a really good team, and it makes no sense.
Yeah, that's kind of how the NFL works.
Yeah.
And I told you when you lost to the Jets, I said, look, there have been 2 teams that have gone 0-16. Now it would be 0-17. But there have been 2 teams in the last 40 years that have done it. So these teams that stink are going to find a win somewhere or not. Like the Lions are going to win a game.
They just haven't yet.
They just haven't yet. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get back to your phones on the Titans. 615-737-1025. Let me tell you about my friends at Edmunds. That's right. I want to thank my friends at Edmunds for sponsoring the show. Every year, people are out buying new vehicles, and it is hard. And new and used vehicles have been harder to find recently because of car shortages and increased demand. And it is hard trying to research the best price and the best vehicle and the best make and the best model for what you want out of a vehicle. And that's why Edmunds is here to help. Edmunds has been taking the stress out of car shopping for over 50 years, the entire process. And they've been keeping track of everything happening in the market to help you shop with confidence. I love the fact that when I pull up Edmunds, I told you yesterday I was looking for a Sprinter van. Just pull up Edmunds, boom, put it in there, and it'll tell you all these different places, including the ones that are offering home delivery. So the ones that are by you, that are offering a home delivery, so you don't even have to go get it, whatever. They can take great care of you. Just go to the Edmunds website and do it. It's very easy to use. Over 50 years of car shopping advice and price guidance all in one place. Edmunds gives you resources for every part of the process of buying or selling your car. Spend less time stressing at dealerships and get the most out of car shopping without even leaving the home by visiting Edmunds. Car shopping can be stressful. Edmunds is here to help. Visit Edmunds.com to get your free online appraisal today and start searching for vehicles in your area. That's EDMUNDS.com. For cars, there's Edmunds.
This is Mikhail Kraland, and this is Nashville.
Rebound shoveled in by Mikhail Kraland, and the Predators have tied it up on the power play.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 1025, their game.
Blood Assurance, the area's only nonprofit community blood center, announces the opening of their new blood center at 600A Fraser Drive in Cool Springs. Now Williamson County has a new, convenient, comfortable, state-of-the-art blood center for donors to give the gift of life. Blood Assurance centers are the only facilities in Middle Tennessee where all blood donated goes to help many of our area local hospitals. To view the center's hours and to make an appointment, visit bloodassurance.org/schedule. Give life, give blood, give local.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and final sale of the year is here this weekend. It's an incredible event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers are here with expanded collections and extraordinary pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35% this Friday, Saturday, and yes, open Sunday for this great event. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal, and it's happening this weekend. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers here from LA and New York with their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Rock Bottom Nashville is Broadway's original brewery, where all brews are brewed on site. Josh Rappaport is Rock Bottom's brewmaster, creating fresh craft beers where peak flavors are always the rule. Grab one of their blockbuster beers to pair with their nachos, pretzel bites, and delicious flatbreads. They even have group catering. They boast one of the best views of downtown Nashville and is a short walk to Titan Stadium. And enjoy happy hour Monday through Friday afternoons from 2 until 6. Rock Bottom Nashville, 111 Broadway.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and Craneworks and Rental Works, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Dan Lovitz. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is having surgery this morning to repair the 5th metatarsal in his foot, a Jones fracture, and the timeline for this one, Kay, is pretty basic and pretty consistent. It's about 6 to 10 weeks, and for Derrick Henry, coming back in 6 weeks would be awfully fast. Not impossible, but awfully fast. Maybe not the kind of thing that an organization would have happen to one of their faces. Probably a better ballpark for Derrick Henry is about 8 weeks. So assuming the surgery goes well this morning, he should be able to get back right around January. Consider where the Titans are in the division, which is leading by a bunch. They seem primed to, if they continue to do what they've done, make the playoffs. That means Derrick Henry should possibly be able to come back for the playoffs. Meanwhile, they signed a future Hall of Famer to take his spot. Adrian Peterson signed yesterday to their practice squad, which I know probably sounds weird, but that's just the way it's been the last 2 years. They'll promote him to the 53-man roster, possibly even this week as soon as he comes up to speed. So he will take the place of Derrick Henry until Henry is able to come back medically.
There you go. That was Ian Rappaport, NFL Network. Boy, we've heard a lot of takes on when Derrick can come back, one way or another. But
there's one that I trust above all else,
that is
Stephania Bell.
Yeah, Stephania Bell on our show yesterday. Let's get to your phones. As promised, 615-737-1025.
Gwen texts in and says, absolutely, it is Tannehill's job to lead this team, and he knows it. And I think he is capable both by talent and by leadership. Let's fill in the blank with these other names and find a way. We still have the Vrabel mentality in the locker room.
Okay, so I want to clarify, too, what I say by what I think is fair to put on Tannehill. Mm-hmm. I don't think it has ever been fair on Ryan Tannehill to look at another good team, the Green Bay Packers, and say, okay, Ryan, you've got to go out there and go beat Aaron. And I'm not asking him to do that. But the rest of the schedule outside of the Rams is 3 500-level teams. Pittsburgh, New England, New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And then all bad teams. Jags, Texans, Dolphins, Texans. Did I leave anybody out?
Jags, Texans, Dolphins, Texans.
Patriots,
Steelers,
Saints,
New Orleans.
Rams.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I'm just asking Tannehill to get you through those bad teams. How many games do you think you honestly need to win? Here's Indianapolis' schedule the rest of the way.
Okay.
And I believe the Colts are sitting at 3-5. So let's just say Jags, Texans, Jags. No, Jags, Texans, Texans.
I think they win all of those.
That's 9.
Okay.
Dolphins is 10.
Mm-hmm.
So now Indy has to get to 11. And Indy is sitting at 3.
Oh, gosh.
Jets is 4.
Okay.
Jacksonville's 5.
Yes.
Buffalo, Tampa Bay.
Lose both of those most likely.
Houston is 6. New England, Arizona. The Raiders.
Okay.
Jacksonville is 7.
Okay.
So now they have to get 4 more.
And I think you could maybe say, what did you say, Pittsburgh?
No. New England.
New England.
Raiders. Buffalo, Tampa, Arizona.
They could maybe get a win in one of those games, and it would have to be either New England or the Raiders. I don't see them beating the Bucs. I don't see them beating Arizona.
Buffalo's on the road. Arizona's on the road.
Oh, yeah. I don't see them beating Arizona on a West Coast road trip, and Buffalo is going to be freezing.
And here's the other part about the Colts. They now know they suck. Like all the grab ass that was being played in Indianapolis by their local media about how great Carson Wentz has been and how great of a coach Frank Reich is, they've all turned. I mean, we compared them to the Knoxville media last week. That's what the Knoxville media does on the UT football coach. You're the best, Butch. Come on my show, Butch. Butch has got to go. He's the worst. Brick by Brick was stupid the whole time. We all knew it. Oh, bull crap.
It was stupid, though.
You didn't. I knew it. You know, you want to know how Floyd Reese got my phone number? Floyd Reese got my phone number because we had worked together a little bit. He was doing afternoons. I was doing mornings.
Mm-hmm.
Floyd, one day it was me versus Tennessee fans on Butch Jones. And I was telling him, like, guys, this guy's nuts. He's off his rocker. He's, whatever. I don't even know if Ryan remembers this. Floyd texted Ryan and said, can you send me our chunky friend's phone number?
Oh.
And Floyd sent me a text and said, keep him going on Butch Jones. Ha ha. And that was how he got my phone number. That was the first time that we exchanged phone numbers. Was that. Because but the fans, they loved him. We had a caller.
Well, it's easy to drink the Kool-Aid.
We had a caller that called in that was like, Butch is going to beat Nick Saban, Jared. And now you think about how crazy that is.
That sounds crazy.
That's what Indianapolis was. That's what Indy was for like the last. I sent you the thing yesterday, didn't I, where Colin Cowherd was like,
yeah.
This is the greatest trade to get Carson Wentz.
Well, Colin Cowherd, for some reason, just kisses the ground that the Indianapolis Colts walk on. I mean, how many times has he doubled down on his takes on the Colts?
Now he's saying that the Colts are split inside their building about whether or not they like Wentz or not.
Well, I would wonder why they're split about Carson Wentz.
I mean, hey, this show's never been split. This show has never been. I mean,
from the day he got traded, from the first day we met each other.
The day he got traded, I had a 9:30 Zoom, 10 o'clock Zoom with Caroline Fenton, and that was that day. And I told you that day on that Zoom, I'm like, oh, yeah, I am so fired up because the Colts just traded for Carson Wentz, and he freaking sucks. And you were like...
So it's only a wonder why Indianapolis is split about Carson Wentz.
But, like, the whole point, I guess, these roundabout stories, to say that, like, there is... I mean, like, Tannehill would have to just absolutely suck so bad that you're as bad as all the... If you beat... You're at... We got to what? We got to 7 wins for Indianapolis with
maybe
5 games left. So 7 wins with 5 games against the Patriots, Raiders, Bills, Bucks, and Arizona.
Uh-huh.
And they'd have to get to 10. If you don't beat anybody except for the Jags and the Texans, they'd have to get to 10. So they'd have to win 3 of those 5 games.
Two of them on the road.
Ain't happening. Ain't happening. So when we say, can Tannehill get them to the finish line, that's all we're talking about. Can you beat the Texans, the Jags, and maybe the Dolphins? And if you can't beat the Texans, Jags, and the Dolphins then holy crap.
Then I think the Titans are in a much bigger issue than we ever expected them to be.
Derrick Henry is as valuable to the Titans as Peyton Manning was to the Colts when he hurt his neck and they were the worst team in the league.
That we went from arguing with ESPN list makers that Ryan Tannehill should be a top 10 quarterback in the league and we're not going to get Tannehill in trouble for not doing anything that he hasn't done.
Right,
yet.
he has not gotten them to the finish line.
But if he can't, then we would have done a quick 180 in the matter of 4 to 6 months.
What else we got?
Another texter texts in and says, I'm scared that when Derrick Henry is back, he will be a shell of what he was coming off an injury like that. Maybe even to the point that a healthy Peterson is better than a still hurt Henry.
No!
There's always a risk there that if you come back from injury, you're not going to be the same player that you once were. That risk is there for anyone.
Do you think people texted in or called into the Green Bay station in 2017 and said, if Aaron's not totally ready from that collarbone, I think a healthy Hundley might be better than a totally kind of hurt Aaron? No!
Probably not.
Do you think anyone ever said, hey, if Brady's knee's not totally back, maybe Matt Castle, healthy Castle's better than not 100% Brady? No! The Denver Broncos had Tim Tebow, and I know that they thought he stunk, and a lot of people thought he stunk, but most of America, like half of America, thought that Tim Tebow was a good quarterback because they were winning games, and they beat the Steelers in a playoff game with Tim Tebow at quarterback. And John Elway still looked at it and was like, no, I'd rather risk the Peyton Manning that just had a neck infusion and try to get him than have to deal with Tim Tebow as my quarterback. That's this. If Derrick can come back, Derrick plays. And if Derrick is hurt still a little bit, and Derrick's like, it's painful, but I can play, and you say, are you sure, Derrick? And Derrick says, I'm sure, coach, then Derrick plays.
I think that if the doctors say, hey, on our end, green light, it's up to you, based off of however you feel, it's going to be a green light from Derrick Henry as well.
I agree. Derrick's going to want the ball.
Yes.
There are some guys that, as a manager in baseball, you say, hey, can you give me another inning? And the pitcher's like, nah, Skip, I can't. I don't want to throw too many pitches because I'm coming up on free agency. And there are other guys that the manager has to know, hey, I got to take him out. Because even if he's gassed and he doesn't have a fastball left, he's going to tell me, I can get the next guy, Skip.
Yeah.
And you got to be the one to say, nope, bullpen. And Derrick is that guy.
Arm barn. That's what we're calling it now.
Yeah. PETA sent me what's that squishy thing you put in your hands?
Like a stress ball?
Yeah. They sent me a catfish and sent me this long letter like 4 years ago.
No way.
And they were saying, please encourage people to go to PETA.com and buy these squishy catfishes and throw those on the ice and not actual catfish on the ice. And I
want a squishy catfish.
Well, you weren't here. And I threw that letter in the trash and never discussed it with anybody. And that's how I feel about Arm Barn.
Until now.
So you go to the bullpen. If Derrick says, I'm good, Skip, Derrick, get in there. And that's how I feel about it. Because if let's say that the screw's in there and it's healing okay, but then, something happens and it re-injures a little bit and you're playing with kind of a loose screw, which kind of sounds gross to have a loose screw in your foot, but that's exactly what you would have. Then once the season is over, you can then have the bone graft done and you take out 6 months. And that's what I would then vote for. But this is different. Headlines with Caroline. We'll do that next. 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company. We're delivered by TriStar Moving. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon, but chilly. High only 53 degrees, and we stay in the upper 40s and lower 50s for highs for the rest of the week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Take the road less wandered with scenic drives, rock formations, waterfalls, roadside food, and unique shops. Something different around every turn. Mississippi. Wander's welcome. Learn more at visitmississippi.org/wander.
Hey Nashville, we think you deserve the very best driving experience, and now is the time for our Season of Change CPO event at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. When you purchase a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you're backed by the remaining new vehicle limited warranty. Once that expires, the certified pre-owned limited warranty goes into effect, providing an additional 12 months of coverage with unlimited miles. See all the perks and exceptional offers for your certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Your home value is way up this year, and with mortgage rates back to all-time lows, it's a great time to call Loan Pronto. Refinance now and get cash out of your home's equity. Hey, it's Willie Donick. Loan Pronto can refinance your loan at a super low rate. They can pay the closing costs for you and get you a bunch of cash out. How does $40,000 or $50,000 sound? Don't just sit on that home's new value. Use it. Use it to pay off credit cards. Use it to consolidate other debt. Get rid of PMI. Use IT to make your home even more valuable with that home improvement project you've been dreaming about. Loan Pronto's all-digital platform makes it fast and easy. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto now, 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Ask about the Loan Pronto zero-cost cash-out refi. LoanPronto.com, 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Zero cost option not available on all loans.
Now is the best time to work at Amazon. They are offering higher sign-on bonuses and more hourly pay. On November 6th, Amazon is hosting a hiring event and will be making job offers on the spot for warehouse associates. Please be sure to bring 2 forms of federal identification to help expedite the application process. Come to the Radisson Hotel Nashville Airport Center Drive on November 6th between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. and you could walk away with a new job. Amazon is proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Curation CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Curation CBD. Curation means healing, and that right there says it all. Curation is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Curation is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets, too. Order yours now at CurationCompany.com. Curation CBD, curated for life.
Listen to every pitch of the 2021 MLB World Series on ESPN 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9. Brought to you by 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. Head to thegamenashville.com for up-to-date World Series game times or the Game Nashville app.
Darren McFarland.
And a mulligan that we all look for in golf. Lord knows our game could use it.
Willie Donick.
Outworked and outperformed a lot of other really good players.
Chase McCabe.
I want some sort of trade protection.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curation CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Tune into the NFL Game of the Week on 102.5 The Game, brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. This Sunday, the Game of the Week is the Minnesota Vikings at the Baltimore Ravens, a noon kickoff of Vikings and Ravens for the Game of the Week. I do want to share with the people before we get into the headlines. Tonight, the Predators take on the Calgary Flames. This is why they announced on Saturday that Terry Crisp would be retiring from hockey, which you all know I'm not for. I'm against Crispy retiring. That they announced on Saturday that Crispy would be retiring because he's going to be honored at Calgary tonight, where he coached and obviously, won the Stanley Cup.
Really cool.
And so Crispy will today, tonight's game, coverage starts at 7:30 on Bally Sports South. During Predators Live pregame, Terry's son, Tony Crisp, will join Lindsey Rowley and Chris Mason to talk about Crispy. The Flames will honor Crispy with an in-arena video during the first TV timeout. And in the first period, the telecast will stay live for the honoring of Terry Crisp. Crispy will be on the broadcast, obviously, and discuss his time as a coach in Calgary during the first intermission. In the second period, Crispy will be the third member in the booth with Willie and Chris Mason. And Lindsey Rowley will be with the Crisp family in a suite during the second period, interviewing Sheila and former Flames general manager Al Coates and other guests of the Crisp family. So be watching for that.
Congratulations, Crispy.
I will say this. I'm having a tough time with the idea of Crispy retiring.
I'm sorry.
I mean, there are very few people. And I put out a post on Instagram.
It was very sweet.
And I just kind of felt like, Crispy has meant so much to me. Not only as a fan, but doing the show and all the shows that I've done, Crispy has been a big part of all of it. But I'll say this about Crispy, and we'll have Thursday when he comes on the show, and we'll probably spend a lot of time talking to him about this decision to retire and things like that. But I told Crispy this a couple of weeks ago. It was the first time I saw him in a couple of months. And I told him, there aren't a lot of people in Nashville that worked in sports that Floyd had a ton of respect for. Like, I'm sure there are a lot of people that were like, oh, yeah, I loved Floyd. He was so great to me. But, and I think Ian can probably back this up. Floyd would kind of be like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever you say, yeah. There weren't a lot of people that he, looked to for, sports advice or cared what they had to say. Crispy was one of them. Crispy was on the short list. I mean, he really held Crispy in a high regard, and I obviously do too. And so to know, obviously, that Floyd and the wealth of knowledge that we had with him, that's gone and gone for forever, and that Crispy is going to be gone as far as a wealth of knowledge for all of us, it makes me sad. It makes me sad for the people. I mean, I know that, and now I'm bloviating here, but I know that a lot of people think that I get on the radio just to hear myself talk. That's not really true. I think about myself as a kid, and I think about, how into sports in Nashville I was, in middle school and high school, and I listened to sports radio, and I can remember around Christmas 2002, there was this race to see who was going to claim Deion Sanders to keep the Raiders the number one team in the AFC from getting him. It ended up being the Chargers. But I remember sitting by the radio and listening to that. And I think about it now, what product are we putting out there for those kids today? And to know that there's not going to be a Floyd Reese on the radio anymore, and there's not a Terry Crisp on the radio after this season when Crispy retires, that's tough for me. That's a tough pill for me to swallow, because now it puts a lot of pressure, I feel on a lot of different people to set the stage for what this city should be like from a sports radio standpoint. And I'll be totally honest with you. I think it's bad for sports in Nashville, and it's like if you were a baseball player and you think, okay, having a reliever pitch one inning in the World Series and then come out, that's bad for the game. Mm-hmm. And there are certain things that I hear in our city, I'm like, that's bad for us as a sports town, and losing Crispy is not going to help. Okay, now it's time for Headlines with Caroline.
We're spanning the sports world. It's Headlines with Caroline on Stillman and Company, right here on Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
So I promise I have some actual breaking news, actual hard-hitting news. But before we get into that, I want to address whatever went on Twitter last night, because I wasn't really on Twitter for much of the Monday night game. I finished the game, decided to check Twitter, and I thought, what the heck is everyone talking about this monkey for?
Yeah, I feel like we were on Instagram last night, not Twitter.
Yeah, we were on Instagram last night. We were doing our due diligence on Instagram. But anyway, so it all started with a tweet from this man named Tom Campbell. So according to his Twitter, indicates he's based out of Houston, but otherwise, from what we know of, has no other association with Texas football. But he said a credible source from the Texas football team told him that a monkey bit a child on Halloween, a monkey belonging to the girlfriend of Texas special teams coach Jeff Banks. Now, the girlfriend responded, said that she had no knowledge of this, didn't claim that any of that happened, but there's evidence that arose that it does own the monkey and that she was hosting a Halloween party at her house. But, I mean, the story doesn't matter. But it just blew up so much on Twitter last night.
I think the story matters. I think that's why. She's an ex-stripper who used to be on the Jerry Springer Show.
The Pole Assassin is her name.
She used to be on the Jerry Springer Show.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, well, good. Well, now she's back in the news again.
Well, I mean, hey, if you're from the Jerry Springer Show, you might be able to work in Nashville sports radio one day.
You never know. The sky is the limit. But, I mean, the story, yes, it's involved with Texas football in a way that she's the girlfriend of their special teams coach. But the people on Twitter just held on to this story and ran with it. And that's how a story about a monkey biting a kid became way bigger news on Twitter than Monday Night Football.
I don't think, and I try not to judge people by their covers and things like that. And, what you know on TV may not be a reality. I can't ever see myself marrying somebody who's from the Jerry Springer Show and has the nickname
that's your
the Pole
personal
Assassin.
That's your
and I won't have a monkey because I don't marry people like that. What's next?
So a little bit of a darker note, Henry Ruggs
This story is
today.
messed
This
up.
story is wild. So Henry Ruggs, wide receiver for the Raiders, is facing a DUI charge with fatal repercussions as well. So early Tuesday this morning, around 3:40 a.m., Henry Ruggs crashed into the rear of another car on the Las Vegas Strip. The Toyota that he hit caught on fire. The woman that was in the car was pronounced dead at the scene. So Henry Ruggs is now facing a DUI charge with death. So in Nevada, you cannot be held on probation for DUI involving death. So Henry Ruggs could potentially be facing 2 to 20 years in state prison.
Sounds like his celebrity's not going to get him out of this one. Sounds like he's going to jail.
Yeah.
And this is another, instant 9,000 of why drinking and driving is a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to wonder, dude.
What are you doing?
Dude.
What are you doing?
Like, get someone to drive your car for you.
He was driving a Corvette. You can afford an Uber.
You can afford someone to drive the Corvette.
Yes, you can afford so many other things than driving your car while under the influence.
Awful. So it sounds like his career's probably over.
It sounds like it.
Now,
yes.
again, Dante Stallworth, I think, had a similar incident. He missed a couple of years, and then he came back and played, and maybe that happened. I don't know. The Ruggs thing just sounds terrible. What's next?
Von Miller, after his entire career being spent in Denver, will now head to Los Angeles. He was traded to the Rams yesterday in exchange for a second-round pick and a third-round pick in the 2022 draft. The Broncos will also pay the remaining $9 million of his salary for the rest of this season, for the rest of the 9 games on the Broncos schedule. Von Miller said he was very surprised by the trade. He said it's still hard. You can't really put it into words. And I've seen a lot of interviews with Von Miller, and in a few of them, he's tearing up. You can tell that he's just bummed to be leaving Denver. He loved Denver very much, and he said it in a bunch of press conferences. But if you look at the company that he's joining in L.A., not so bad. Joining 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year Aaron Donald and All-Pro corner Jalen Ramsey with the Rams.
It is an all-in move. I mean,
yeah.
The Rams have just decided, hey, we're not going to half-step it. We do not care about the draft.
The Rams don't draft.
We are all in, and we are all in to win a Super Bowl this year in our stadium. And I do hope at some point that will bite them in the rear end down the road, but it doesn't seem like it's going to. Those are headlines with Caroline. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Coming up next, whenever it comes to Derrick Henry, the media is all over the place about when Derrick can return. What should people believe? We'll tell you next. It's ESPN 1025 The Game. Let me tell you about TriStar Moving. I love TriStar Moving. Those guys are fantastic. I moved a year ago, literally a year and 5 days ago. I moved with TriStar Moving, and it was the best decision that I made in the moving process. Their owners, Garrett and Robert, are true Nashvillians, which is why they have a company whose motto is TriStar Moving with 5-star service. And I got 5-star service. They had home protection, which took care of my old home. No scratches, no dings, no dents, no nothing. And my new home, which looked as perfect, if not better, with the job that their crew did. They are the best. And I wouldn't just tell you that if I didn't absolutely love them. I've had friends that have reached out to me about, hey, who are those movers you talk about? And I tell them, hey, here's the number, TriStar Moving, give them a call. TriStar Moving online, NashvilleMoving.org/radio. Again, that's NashvilleMoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, my official movers. And again, I have not just recommended them to you, but I have recommended them to my own friends and my own family, my cousin. I say, hey, call my friends at TriStar. They'll take great care of you. That's TriStar Moving, TriStar Movers with 5-star service, my official movers.
Your speaker at home is so smart that even Alexa knows where to find Nashville's best sports talk.
1025 The Game is Nashville's best sports talk.
Ask Alexa to enable 1025 The Game. Once enabled, ask Alexa to play 1025 The Game.
Welcome to 1025 The Game.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and this week marks the halfway point to the NFL season, and there's a big Sunday afternoon matchup between Green Bay and Kansas City, and FanDuel Sportsbook is about to make it even bigger because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can win $150 on a $5 bet. You know me. Give me my beloved Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is dealing, and the Packers look like they're about to get healthier this week as well. So take that any way you want to take it. Offers like this are one of the many reasons I love betting the NFL on FanDuel. It's the #1 rated sportsbook app in America. It's easy to use, safe, and secure, and you get your money quickly in as little as 2 hours. So just sign up with promo code ROB this week before Green Bay takes on Kansas City, and you can win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember to use promo code ROB so they know that I sent you. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. A $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. A max bonus of $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Dierks Bentley. Beers on Me Tour 2022. Friday, February 25th, Bridgestone Arena. And he's bringing along special guests, Jordan Davis. And Lainey Wilson. Dierks Bentley, live in concert. Tickets on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com.
Mortgage rates are on the move. Don't miss the chance to lock in the best rate of your lifetime with my friends at Loan Pronto. Hey, Willie Donick here. Call Loan Pronto today and take advantage of their super popular zero-cost refi program. So many people are doing this. You can get a rate with an APR in the low twos with no junk fees, no closing costs. Yes, they pay your closing costs, even if you refinanced 6 months ago. Loan Pronto's all-digital process is fast and easy. Virtually no paperwork required. And most loans get closed in 14 days. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto now and start the process. Don't wait on rates to spike again. If your current APR is over 2.75, call now for a free 30-second quote. 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible for zero-cost option.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game. College football rankings out tonight. The committee will make their first rankings. Trevor Maddich will join us in less than 30 minutes with his thoughts. We're streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. So last night I'm watching the Monday Night Football game. And let me just state for the record that I'm officially done with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Now you are.
Oh, I'm done.
Should have listened to me yesterday.
That was the moment of truth for me with the Chiefs. I was like, these guys suck. Like, they suck. So anywho.
Telling me something I already know.
I'm watching the Monday Night Football game, and I don't know if you saw this, but I just felt like over and over again, I saw at the bottom of the screen, Titans expect Henry out for the season. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't expect Derrick Henry out for the season. I listened to Vrabel's press conference yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Vrabel was talking about Derrick doing everything he can to try to come back and be a factor this season. And we had on Stefania Bell, ESPN, about, is he done for the season? And she didn't say that. And I've listened to a bunch of people. And Will Carroll, the injury expert, was on the Midday Show yesterday. And he didn't say that Derrick was done for the season. And even the back channels, the people that tell you behind the scenes with the Titans, they didn't say Derrick was done for the season. In fact, somebody over there told me they were worried about the fact that the last game of the season against the Texans is on that field turf. And there's kind of a concern about him running on the field turf like in Indianapolis. So, I think
but implying that he would be on the field against the Texans at the end of the season.
So, everybody is freaking out because the bottom of the ESPN screen says Derrick's out for the year. So, one of my friends texted me a conversation that she had with another friend. Let's say her name is, Ashley.
Sure.
So,
great name.
Ashley texts, let's pick another name. Logan.
Sure.
And she says, Derrick Henry is having foot surgery tomorrow and is out for the season, and a bunch of crying emojis. And what's funny is that the second person texted back and said, not necessarily for the season, but just definitely for 6 weeks. But he could come back for the playoffs if things go well, fingers crossed.
Very insightful of Logan.
I know. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, most people in America think that Derrick Henry is out for the season. And
well,
I
that's
heard
what
Mike
it was made
Greenberg,
out to be.
Today, Mike Greenberg was sitting there talking about, the football world just lost its lunch when they heard that the Derrick Henry news. Because Schefter put in the initial tweet that they feared he could miss the season. And now it turned into the season. And everything I've heard is not for sure the season.
It could be, but it also could not be.
And now Ian Rappaport is talking about, he could be back in 6 weeks. So I've decided to weed out everything. Pro Football Doctor was on Outkick. He's, I think, with Outkick. He was on Outkick 360 yesterday. And he said this was his timetable on when he thinks Derrick Henry's coming back.
I would take the over 8 weeks on a return. And remember, return from any injury is not like a light switch. Recovery is not a light switch. It's not like 8 weeks and he's 100% and 7 weeks and 6 days he can't play. I mean, at 8 weeks, he might do something. At 10 weeks, a little bit more. For him to be Derrick Henry again, you love that to be the playoffs, which is 11 weeks away, assuming Tennessee makes it. I would book that right now. If you said full go Derrick Henry at 11 weeks, his usual self, that's a win right there.
So he's saying, I feel, but he won't even totally commit to it either. Because he didn't know, because as he said, it's not a light switch. Patients are different. Stephon Bell, ESPN injury analyst on our show. This is what I think you need to know, which is what Logan texted Ashley in the conversation I'm telling you about. Mm-hmm. This is what Stephon Bell said, which is the only definitive thing that I can say comfortably about Derrick Henry. Take a listen. This was on our show yesterday.
If you look at just fracture healing, it takes approximately 6 weeks for a bone to show good healing. The challenge with the area of the fracture that Derrick Henry has, anywhere in that fifth metatarsal, and there are several different types of fifth metatarsal fractures, but it can look good on some imaging, but you can't see really at the cellular level of the bone. So there is some risk of re-injury that no matter what you look at in advance, you still can't account for all the risk. But until you see good evidence of bone healing, you're not making any kind of decision about a return. So I would think you're going to be at least past six to 8 weeks before you're even starting to have that conversation.
Okay, that's what I believe. That all the talk about Derrick, is he going to come back? I don't care until 6 weeks from now. If a report comes out that Derrick can, now she said when you go in there may be things that you find, and they went in this morning. So if it comes out today that the Titans are shutting it down, Derrick's done, I'll believe that. But anything short of that, I don't think there's any way to know. I think that there is 6 weeks, and then you'll start to hear a little bit about Derrick maybe trying to come back and work his way in on the practice field and how's the rehab going and all that. Then I think it becomes a thing. But, Rappaport was talking about, 6 to 8 weeks, he'd be fine. Schefter's out for the season. And I don't think any of that's true. And I almost think that, Titan fans, are being put in a spot where they don't know what to believe or they don't know what to hear because all you can see at the bottom of the screen is Henry expected out for the season. Expected by who? Not expected by me. Not expected by Stephon Bell. Not expected by Vrabel. Now, they're not saying that he's for sure. I'm not saying he's for sure coming back. Mm-hmm. But, I saw that yesterday just over and over again. Henry expected out for the season. According to whom?
At this point, because I go with what Stephon Bell says. She's the expert, and she would know better than anyone other than the surgeon who put the knife to Derrick Henry's foot. Sure. What to expect from this injury. So I think it's irresponsible to expect a timeline before 6 to 8 weeks. Because Stefania said 6 to 8 weeks until we can even get a good idea of when he could be back. That could mean 6 weeks. That could mean 8 weeks. They could take a look at it at 8 weeks and say, yeah, no, it's not looking good. We're going to need to do that 6-month recovery surgery. We don't know. So it could be 6 weeks, it could be 6 months, it could be anywhere between there. But I trust Stefania with what she says, I think goes. So in terms of a Derrick Henry timeline, if 6 to 8 weeks is when you can evaluate, that's what Stefania says, then 6 to 8 weeks we'll evaluate.
So you're going with Stefania Bell
yes,
as the official Gene Steratore Supreme Court decision upon Derrick Henry's injury right now.
For
what
right
she
now.
says goes.
For right now. Now,
is the Gene Steratore rule. That's how I approach it. If Gene says it's a fumble, it's a fumble.
I still can't operate under the Gene Steratore
says
rule.
that they need to set the clock at 1 minute and 7 seconds, then Gene is right and the clock needs to go to 1:07. That's how I approach CBS games.
I don't approach Gene in that way, but if we're going to go on your rules, which we tend to do a lot on this show.
It is my show.
We can do that. So for right now, for where it stands, Stefania Bell is my Gene Steratore. Unless we hear from the Titans, who are making an official announcement that they've been informed by their doctors, by Derrick Henry's surgeon.
If we hear something on a low from the Titans,
yes.
Which I'll be honest with you about the Titans, and I wouldn't characterize my relationship with the Titans as great. I would say I feel like I have a very mutually understanding relationship with the Titans. Like, they know what my job is. I know what their jobs are. You know, they know I like them.
Real recognize real.
I think they know I know they like me. Like, you know, whatever. But, you know, if I hear something on the low, then that I will let everybody know.
If we hear something from the Titans, that will become my new Gene Steratore.
But
until then, Stefania Bell is my Gene.
But the bottom of that screen didn't hear anything from the Titans.
No.
Expected out for this year. I listened to Vrabel yesterday. I'm telling you, Mike Vrabel is not of the opinion that Derrick Henry's done for the year. I'm just convinced that Mike Vrabel's not of that opinion after listening to him yesterday. And so I don't think
that's just wishful thinking.
I think the way that we summed it up in that text, which was, he's not out for the year. You got to give it 6 weeks, and hopefully he can come back for the playoffs. And you heard the Pro Football Injury Doc on Outkick, which he was a former NFL team doctor. Now, he said Marcellus Wiley had this injury when they were in San Diego, and that Marcellus was back in 1 week and made it to the Pro Bowl.
What?
He said it. I didn't say it. He said it. But I say all of this as a roundabout way of saying 6 weeks, let's talk.
Yeah.
Then
and if
we
anything
can talk
changes
about Derrick,
before then?
But the idea of, you know, well, this doc said that, and this one said that, and this guy on this show said this, and then this guy had this recovery and said that. None of that matters. 6 weeks, then maybe there's a chance. If I told you could take what the Pro Football Doc said, that in 11 weeks Derrick will be good to go, which would be the start of the playoffs, would you take it right now?
Yeah.
Would you settle for it out of court that Derrick gets one game against maybe the Texans, and Derrick is ready to go at the start of the playoffs? And would you say, all right, give me the playoffs, baby!
100%.
Because that's how I think I'd feel.
Yeah.
615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Of course we are to your phones. Plus, there is one positive thing that I think can come out of all of this Derrick Henry stuff. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is still bad for the Titans, and my heart sunk yesterday just like everybody else's. But I think there is one positive spin that you can do. Now, unlike other people, we don't cheerlead for the Titans. So I'm just going to bring it up, and then we move on. I'm not going to say that this is the rule or this is what's going to happen, but that's next. It's Stillman and Company on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The Titans season has taken a turn with the Derrick Henry injury.
This is bad for the Titans. And unfortunately, I think there's going to be a lot of responsibility put onto the shoulders of people who aren't good enough to do it.
For all the latest on the King.
It makes getting through the end of the season seem so much more menacing now that you don't have that guy.
Keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical breakthrough. The Wave technology at Hillside Medical Clinic was tested by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic, and the results are in. It's proven to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now. And not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. I don't think I've ever seen it fail. This is a $600 value, free to those that call in the next 2 minutes. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Bank of England Mortgage has been helping Americans live the dream of home ownership for over 100 years. Since their humble beginnings in England, Arkansas, they've gone from a community bank to a nationwide mortgage lender. BOE delivers innovative mortgage products with superior customer service and the most knowledgeable loan officers in Nashville. Find your nearest location in Middle Tennessee at BOE1214.com or call 615-823-1215. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and final sale of the year is here this weekend. It's an incredible event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers are here with expanded collections and extraordinary pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35% this Friday, Saturday, and yes, open Sunday for this great event. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal, and it's happening this weekend. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers here from LA and New York with their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Hey. Nice tailgate setup.
Thanks. Dos Equis?
Sure.
Really hits the spot.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Well, I hope your team never wins as long as I'm alive.
Same to you.
A dose of respect. Brought to you by Dos Equis, proud sponsor of college football. Get a dose. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2021. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Seeing in McNichols and maybe Hilliard, who's now on board, and even Sargent.
You know, Jeremy, since he's been here, whether that's in the active roster, the practice squad, coming back to us, has always just done whatever the team needed him to do. Be on special teams, run the football, protect. You know, he's got a certain level of toughness that we respect. He's done a nice job in protection. He's done a nice job in the screen game. You know, Ryan made an absolutely great throw to Jeremy and a great catch to get us in that 4th and 1 situation that we were able to convert yesterday. I mean, that was a huge play, you know, scrambling to Ryan's left and Jeremy becoming available and making a nice catch. I mean, that's a huge play, and there's a lot of plays like that Jeremy's had. So we got confidence in him.
Ian, is that over the last 4 years the most Mike Vrabel has ever got up on the table and said, "This is my guy, man. He's kicking butt out there"?
It's up there, I'd say.
I like Derek will run for 300 yards, and he'll be like, "Yeah, I mean, I thought we blocked it well. I mean, obviously Derek played really well, but we blocked it well. You know, Corey was down the field blocking, and AJ was down the field blocking, and it was a
couldn't
great
do it
read by
without
the quarterback,
contributions from everyone else on the field.
Complimentary football, and like here it's like, hey, what about the 3 running backs? Well, Jeremy has done everything we've asked Jeremy to do. Jeremy has been the guy, and Jeremy made great plays yesterday, and I love Jeremy McNichols." Vrabel, who never singles somebody out, clearly did it because guess what? That's his running back now. And he wants McNichols to know, hey,
You're my guy.
I believe in you.
You're my boy, Blue.
Like, I believe in you. And that's the one thing that may come of this from the Derrick Henry injury that might be a good thing. And that is that everybody on the team is going to have to step up. And I know that's a cliche. But Tannehill, as we said, he's going to have to get them to the finish line. No ifs, ands, or buts. The offensive line that has not been good this year and is not a good pass-blocking offensive line, they're going to have to bow up now because they're not going to be able to run it 30 times a game. It's just not – the games are not going to allow them to do that. The tight ends that stink, guess what? The ball's coming to you more. Julio, get on the field. Defense, you're going to have to hold. You're going to have to play more than 24 minutes a game because you're not going to win the time of possession 36-24. So you're going to have to get on out there. Randy, you better not miss a kick because there's not going to be enough possessions in positive territory for the Titans to go down there because Derek's not going to get them there. So this is the one positive, and they're not playing anybody good except for this week against the Rams, which I just assume play the JV and just move on, but they're not. Obviously, they're not.
They're not going to do that.
But and I was being tongue in cheek by saying that. But that's the one positive is that I think if you can get everybody playing better because there's more responsibility on everybody's plate now, and then you bring Derek back for the playoffs, that could be the one good thing. Like if the defense realizes, hey, we have to play at a certain level now because Derrick Henry's not out there, and they do play at that level, and then Derrick Henry comes back for the playoffs, and Derrick Henry is rested and refreshed, then I think you got something. That's the one positive here. And I just went on for like 5 minutes about the one positive, and that's it. Everything else about it's negative because Derrick Henry's the best player in the league, and you don't have him anymore.
Well, yeah, because it's tough to look for a silver lining in what seems like a very obviously bad thing for the Titans. But you're right. There is a mental aspect here that if you're a younger guy, if you're down on the roster, if you are on defense and you understand that you may not have that guy to bail you out of some sticky situations on offense, then, yeah. I mean, there's going to be a mental aspect there that, like, if not me, then who? Because
like
the guy that did it...
It's like all your senses in life. You lose one of them, you lose the ability to smell, all of a sudden your ability to taste becomes a lot stronger. You lose your ability to hear, all of a sudden your ability to touch becomes a lot, like that is...
You can live without things that you thought you couldn't live without before.
And that's what this is going to be. Now, I don't know if it's going to work. You may be as bad as the Texans without Derrick Henry. I don't know. That's just the scenario you find yourselves in. Let's go to your phones. 615-737-1025, phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
One texter texts in and asks, are you at all worried that Derek tries to speed the recovery and somehow PEDs become a problem down the road?
Well, considering that it's a bone injury, I believe that milk and calcium are on the approved list.
I think you can do that.
In the NFL.
Yeah.
I think you can do calcium. No, I don't foresee that being an issue. I do not see Derrick Henry taking growth hormone in order for his bone to heal faster.
I don't think we need to be creating any more issues or worries for Titans fans at this point. I think there are plenty of things to be worried about at this point.
That was a hot take.
I don't think Derrick Henry's PEDs are one of them.
That was a hot take, though.
Yes, that's like you're going down a black hole of worries here.
What's next?
Craig texts in and says, if the Titans find a way to win this Sunday, that is the ultimate Mike Vrabel special and end any hope that the Ponies had. I think that Sunday kind of ended a good bit of the Colts' hope.
That's what they said. Like they said after the game, like we knew that this was our last shot for the division. We lost.
Yes. But do you think, I mean, like I'm not putting it in the category of absolutely impossible. I just find it difficult to believe that the Titans could pull off a win in LA.
Oh, of course not. But hey, I mean, you got nothing
crazy
to
things
lose
happen.
Sunday. You have nothing to lose Sunday. The Rams game, I am chalking. They're going to lose. But it's okay. We expect them to lose. They're going to go 3-1 in the 4-game gauntlet. They're going to win the 3 AFC games. And they're not playing with Derrick Henry. Like, they're going to lose. Okay. And if they don't lose, then my God, how good are they? So, I see nothing to lose on Sunday as long as Tannehill doesn't get hurt. Tannehill and
stay
AJ,
healthy.
Tannehill, AJ, Landry, Byard, and David Long Jr. stay healthy. I'm good. On to next week. And I think that's how we should all approach it. Trevor Maddich will join us next. The rankings will come out today. What does the committee do about Cincinnati? Does any of it matter because Georgia is so freaking good? And I don't know about you. I thought that Michigan-Michigan State game was a great game on Saturday.
It was a great game.
We'll discuss all that with Trevor coming up next. Bowl and Branch, that's right, my sheets. It is gift-giving time. Who's a good gift giver around here? Jared. I am a great gift giver, and so take my advice when it comes to the gift of sheets from my friends at Bowl and Branch. That's right. We spend 1/3 of our lives in bed, so pure organic cotton sheets from Bowl and Branch make a truly special gift, and they make the highest quality sheets by doing things the right way, not the easy way. I know this because I use Bowl and Branch sheets, and the moment that I really, truly miss, my Bowl and Branch sheets are when I don't sleep on them, like in a hotel in Atlanta this weekend. I'm like, where are my Bowl and Branch sheets? Oh, I love them so much. Husband and wife team Scott and Missy Tannen founded Bowl and Branch to create a new standard of bedding by doing things the right way. Treat yourself and your loved ones to the new standard in bedding from Bowl and Branch. Their gifts come wrapped and ready for your special holiday packages. Order by December 19th for guaranteed delivery on Christmas. Get 20% off your first set of sheets with the promo code JARED, J-A-R-E-D, at bowlandbranch.com. That's B-O-L-L and branch.com, promo code JARED. See site for details. Exclusions may apply.
Titans, Rams. The Two-Tone Blue seeks a victory without King Henry on Sunday Night Football.
The closest you will ever see to a running back carrying a franchise.
Tune in Sunday at 5 on ESPN 94.9 for NFL pregame with Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Mark Howard. Live from Corner Pub in Brentwood. We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Chase McKay. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, welcomes you to Showtime with a special offer on the World Series. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on any game, and if either team hits a home run in the game, you'll win $200 in free bets, regardless of your bet's outcome. All you have to do is use the bonus code 1025GAME200 when you make your first bet to take advantage of this offer. Enjoy the World Series like never before with BetMGM's live betting options and boosted odds specials at your fingertips for every game. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com. Use that code 1025GAME200 to win $200 in free bets if a home run is hit in the World Series game you wager on. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bet or site credit. Free bets expire in 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Jared Stillman. Guys, are you tired of feeling old? You know that feeling. You don't have any energy. You're gaining pounds. Well, guess what? My friends at Invigorate Health are the ones to help you. They don't just focus on one area of the aging body. They take care of all of it with so many different therapies that can restore your vitality and are designed with you specifically in mind. So give them a try. Invigorate Health, if you want to feel young again. Out in Mount Juliet at 615-288-4777 or invigoratehealthtn.com.
Winter's a bad time for your furnace to go out, but it's never a bad time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
The 2021 Major League Soccer season isn't over yet, Nashville. Are you in? There's just one regular season home match remaining as we make our final push for a playoff spot. Don't miss the action on Sunday, November 7th at 2:30 p.m. against New York Red Bulls at Nissan Stadium. Come be a part of the most unique sports experience in Nashville. Tickets are on sale now from just $22 at NashvilleSC.com. Everyone in.
How'd you like that?
Tonight,
Johansson shoots and scores. Ryan Johansson and the Predators are up 3-0.
Ryan Johansson and the Nashville Predators kick off their road trip north of the border against the Calgary Flames. Pre-game at 7, face-off at 8.
on ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving. It's so wild between the World Series, the Titans win over the Colts, Derrick Henry's injury, where we are now, and thinking about the college football weekend that was, it's almost like Saturday didn't happen. It's like we had the great Michigan State game. Georgia, I mean, I thought for about the first half, I watched Florida keep it close, and I was like, okay, maybe this will be a little interesting, whatever, I don't know. And then the Georgia defense just absolutely took over. You know what's amazing? Nick Saban got the reputation of being able to win championships with bum quarterbacks because he did it with Matt Mock at LSU, and he did it with A.J. McCarron and Greg McElroy, and all of a sudden everybody thought, Saban doesn't need a good quarterback, and then he started getting good quarterbacks and winning, and then it was like, oh, yeah, hey, you know what, this is better than Jacob Coker and Blake Sims. That's what Georgia is. Their quarterback, Stetson Bennett, total average, vanilla, doesn't do anything for you quarterback, and he doesn't have to because their defense is so good. Trevor Matich joins us now, ESPN college football analyst, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics. When experience matters. Trev, let's start with the Georgia Bulldogs. I sent you one word on a text message Saturday. It was the word legendary after Georgia's defense forced Florida into like 3 turnovers and 20 points right before the half. I'm not sure there's another test until Alabama and the SEC title game, if that's in fact who they get. Trevor, I don't see the Georgia Bulldogs losing to anybody in the country right now. What did you make of that defense? Again, the one that you're willing to say you think has the potential to be legendary on Saturday.
I absolutely agree. And they did that against a Florida offense that pushed Alabama all over the field. The passing attack for Florida is dangerous enough that you've got to be careful, because both of their quarterbacks, Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson, have strong arms that can get the ball deep. And both of them can run. And so they present unique challenges, and Bama was not up to that challenge. They won the game, Alabama did, but they gave up over 240-something rushing yards, I think. And the Georgia defense basically shut them down completely. I thought they were going to get the shutout until finally Florida was able to score a touchdown late. And I tell you, you talk about legendary. I mean, this Florida offense is not bad. It's not bad. And when the score was tight, as you mentioned, with 2 minutes to go in the first half, all Georgia's defense did was just start taking away the ball and having a pick six and creating short fields for the offense. And they just said, look, we're not going to go into halftime with a tight game. We're going to blow it open, and if you're not going to help us offense, we'll help you. And so, who can move the ball against them, right? I think Alabama can move the ball against them if their receivers are up to the task. I think Ohio State can move the ball against them. I'm not sure who else in the country can move the ball against them, because the one thing that we haven't seen is a good passing attack. I mean, a top-level passing attack against this Georgia secondary. I mean, their front seven, fantastic. The defensive backs have done everything they've needed to do, but let's see them against a team like an Ohio State that can really throw the ball to NFL-caliber receivers, and if they can hold up to that, then legendary happens.
Trevor, how would this Georgia defense do against the 2019 LSU offense with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that crew?
That is, I think they would not run the ball at all. I think Joe Burrow would get beat up severely. I think that the question mark will be the secondary. And again, I'm not saying that the Georgia secondary can't play. I'm just saying that with the schedule that they've played, they haven't been tested. And so I think the Burrow in that passing attack can move the ball against pretty much any defense as long as they have time. The LSU offensive line that year won the award for the best offensive line in the nation, which I thought was absolutely silly because they were not close, in my opinion, to the best offensive line in the nation. And I think that's where Georgia would have their best chance, to be able to get after Burrow before his receivers had a chance to get open downfield. But I'll tell you, it would be an absolutely epic battle because both sides had so many NFL-caliber players going back and forth.
Trevor Matich with us. The Michigan State game, I thought it was a great game. The ratings were through the roof for Michigan State, which was great to see. Playoff implications. And yet, I hate this binary narrative of college football. Like, Harbaugh couldn't get it done. Big game, he lost. And I'm not one to sit there and cry about the officiating. I thought the officiating in that game was horrendous. I thought the Big Ten ought to be ashamed of themselves. I thought Michigan played a good ball game in East Lansing. I thought the officiating was terrible, especially at the end of the game. And I'm not ready to write Michigan off, but I feel like they're dead after they got the loss, in which, again, I think the officiating was no bueno at the end.
Okay, what didn't you like about the officiating at the end? Which thing stood out to you?
There were two specifics, but the holding at the end when Michigan threw the ball on a 4th down and the kids wrapped around, and Gus Johnson calling the game on Fox is like, no flag. Like, Gus was stunned. They show the replay. Both Gus and Joel Klatt are like, yeah, there's got to be a flag on that play. No flag on that play. I also thought on the other side of the ball, they were when Michigan State tied the game with a 2-point conversion. The kid from Michigan State just throws the kid from Michigan off, catches the ball, and the two refs in the end zone, one at the front pylon, one at the back pylon, are looking at each other, and none of them throw the flag, and they just say 2-point conversion good. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is ridiculous. I did not like the officiating in that game whatsoever. I thought Michigan got hosed on a couple different calls. Those are the two that just come to mind. And I feel like, and I'm one to dump on Harbaugh when it's time to dump. I feel like it's unfortunate that this is what happened to Michigan, in my opinion, because I think they're done now.
Well, I agree with you that those calls were really questionable. And, if they'd have gone the other way, Michigan State would have been equally upset about it, because when you have a receiver and a defensive back that are kind of battling, and then one of them gets the best of the battle, and it could have been pass interference either way, a lot of times they'll let it go, right? The holding, I agree with you. The Michigan will have a lot to complain about. But I will say this, that I agree with you also, Jared, that a lot of people will then now dismiss Harbaugh and this Michigan team, that say they can't win the big game, they can't get over the hump, and they'll completely dismiss all the great progress that the Wolverines have made this year and all the good things they did in this game, because those things don't go away. I mean, Michigan State made a couple more plays, and that was it, basically 2 more plays. And that was it. It was a tight game between 2 top 10 teams. But this Michigan team, the defense came in ranked 2nd in the nation in fewest points allowed, second only to Georgia's defense. So this is a really good Michigan defense. And Kenneth Walker III ripped off 5 touchdowns, including a couple of really long ones where defenders had a chance to tackle him. But Walker in the open field, it's really hard to get a hand on him. And one of the best defenses in the country had trouble getting a hand on him. So you've got to give a lot of credit to Michigan State for that. Michigan State also, their passing game has really been the thing Michigan. The passing game has been what a lot of people have complained about, that they haven't been able to have a quarterback and receivers. Well, against Michigan State, Michigan threw for over 400 yards. So, some good things are happening for the Michigan Wolverines. And right now, their season isn't over. I agree with you there too, Jared, because Michigan State still has to play Penn State and Ohio State. Good chance they'll lose both of those games as long as Penn State stays healthy, because the biggest weakness of Michigan State is passing defense. You can throw the ball on them. Just ask Michigan, 400 yards throwing. Well, Penn State with Sean Clifford healthy can throw the ball really well. Ohio State, you can make an argument, has the best passing game in the country. And so there's a pretty good chance that this Michigan State bend but don't break defense is going to break even more often than it did, giving up 33 points on Saturday to Michigan. So, Michigan is still in this thing. Now, they'll have to beat Penn State. They'll have to beat Ohio State, Michigan now, which is a tall order. But they're still in the race, not just for the Big Ten championship, but for the playoff. So they're not out of it. But I hate it when somebody will lose a game and then everybody out there in the Twitterverse will say, oh, that's it. They're terrible. They can't play. They're just regressing. They're just awful. And they ignore everything else that has happened because 1 or 2 plays didn't go their way. That's disrespectful to me, to the players and coaches.
Trevor Matich is our guest here on the program. Trev, I do wonder if Mel Tucker punched his ticket to LSU on Saturday.
Do you think he wants to go to LSU?
I mean, I think I'd want LSU to offer me a contract, and then I'd take it back to Michigan State, and if Michigan State's not going to be willing to pay what LSU's going to pay. I mean, I still think LSU's going to end up with Joe Brady, but I think that Mel Tucker has to be the hottest name on the market, right?
I would think LSU would want Mel Tucker first and foremost. I mean, he's coached with Kirby Smart. He's coached with Nick Saban. He's coached at the highest levels with the best coaches that the SEC has to offer. I mean, on their staffs. So he's the kind of guy that understands how to get things done. He understands the transfer portal. I mean, he's got 40 guys that he brought into Michigan State in the portal. Last year, in the COVID year, the Spartans were 2-5. This year, they're undefeated and ranked in the top 10, with 4 games to go. And he did it with not just bringing guys in, but he did it by bringing the right guys in. I mean, he and his staff have an extensive NFL pedigree. And they use that style, that NFL style of targeting players as free agents in the transfer portal, where they had a specific need at a specific position. They wanted a guy that could do certain things, and they targeted those guys for those specific needs. And if they were a good player, but they weren't the right fit, they passed on him. They brought in somebody else. Then he was able to meld all those new guys into a cohesive team. Well, if he can recruit that well in the transfer portal, including Kenneth Walker III, who was a guy that Tennessee didn't offer a scholarship. I think he went to high school somewhere near Memphis, I believe. Didn't offer him a scholarship. He goes to Wake Forest and then transfers to Michigan State. Quavarius Crouch, a highly recruited linebacker at Tennessee, transferred away from Knoxville to go up to East Lansing. So if Tucker can do that to East Lansing, imagine how he can recruit to LSU. There's been a lot made of the fact that the last 3 coaches at LSU all won a national championship. Nick Saban, Les Miles, and now Ed Orgeron. 3 coaches in a row won national championships there. They can win it with Mel Tucker too. And if I were them, I'd go after him. If I'm him, I'd want to make sure that he's got the support that he needs before I say yes.
Trevor Matich, ESPN college football analyst, is our guest. Coming up next, who does Trevor think the committee will have as the 4 teams tonight? Who does he think should be the 4 teams tonight? How much do tonight's rankings matter? And Tennessee plays Kentucky. What Trevor thinks of the Vols' chance coming off the bye week? That's next. Stillman and Company. We're delivered by TriStar Moving. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Patchy frost will be possible overnight as temperatures slip into the mid to upper 30s under mainly clear skies. Looking for partly sunny skies Wednesday with highs expected in the mid 50s. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Listen up, sports bettors. This is Hall of Famer Warren Sapp here to tell you about my favorite sports book, BetUS.com. I only endorse one sports book, and that's BetUS.com. Just like me, BetUS is the Hall of Famer of online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. Call today, and they will get you set up faster than I can run the 40. I play at BetUS, and so should you. BetUS.com.
Use code GAME for a sign-up bonus.
Tell them Sapp sent you.
Are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? Listen carefully, because now there are new treatments available here. Not talking surgery or steroids. These are regenerative treatments from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is the leader in these exciting biologic therapies that help restore and repair damaged tissue in your joints with lasting results. So if you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, joint pain that won't go away, you need to check out these new treatments with astonishing patient satisfaction reports. They can actually help your body restore and repair itself with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery. So call now to schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. Tired of dealing with joint pain and want to get moving again? You need to learn more about how biologic therapies are changing the way we think about dealing with joint pain. It's exciting stuff, so don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and final sale of the year is here this weekend. It's an incredible event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers are here with expanded collections and extraordinary pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35% this Friday, Saturday, and yes, open Sunday for this great event. Genesis Diamond, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details. details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal, and it's happening this weekend. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers here from LA and New York with their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Robbie Stanley.
Maybe it doesn't hurt their bottom line this year. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on that front.
Joe Rexrode.
5 guys who are on the roster are not going to be on the roster.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Tonight is a big night in the college football world. The rankings will be released for the first time. Now, I'm going to say this about college football, and I shouldn't say this, and Trevor Maddich, ESPN college football analyst, he'll never stand for this, and maybe Caroline won't either, I don't know. But I used to get so into the ranking shows when they would rank them in the 4 teams that be put out there. And then you play games, and then all of a sudden it's all whatever. Mike Golick Jr. tweeted out, we used to do this ranking show from my couch, and now it's gone everywhere across the country. And you're actually in one of the pictures, Caroline.
Am I really?
You are.
Oh.
And so I guess
when I reorganized Mike Golick Jr.'s house, was when we did it from his couch.
I guess there's him and Fitz will be breaking it down, and I'm sure it'll be great. But that being said, tonight we get our first rankings. Trevor Maddich is with us. Trev, I got 2 questions for you. 1, who gets in as the 4 teams? And 2, who should be the 4 teams tonight?
You know something? Those are going to be 2 different questions because my power rankings are Georgia's number 1, Ohio State number 2, Alabama number 3, Cincinnati number 4. That's my power ranking. And that 4th spot was really tight. There's a bunch of teams I could have put into that spot. What I think the committee will do is put Georgia at 1, Alabama at 2, Ohio State at 3, and then at number 4, I'm guessing they'll put Oklahoma. And I kind of hope they don't, because even though Oklahoma's undefeated and they've been playing better lately with Caleb Williams at quarterback,
they stink.
They played 8 teams against FBS schools. 6 of those 8 wins were by 1 score. They have not looked like a dominant team. And so I think I hope that they would put Cincinnati in there over Oklahoma. Michigan State and Cincinnati is an interesting debate between who should get that 4th spot. Michigan State just had the big win at home against Michigan. But Notre Dame continues to play well. Their only loss is to Cincinnati. And when you talk about the best win, Notre Dame right now is ranked number 8 in the AP, Michigan number 9, so that's pretty close for the best win for Cincinnati and Michigan State. And you look at Michigan State, the rest of their schedule, they haven't played a team that currently has a winning record. There's a couple of 500 teams, the rest of them are losing records. And so it's hard to say that Michigan deserves, from a resume standpoint, to be there more than Cincinnati does. So it's interesting to see, to me, what they will do with Cincinnati. And my worry about Cincinnati is this. You and I have had the debate all the time, Jared, about good enough versus deserves it. Deserves it is, who did you beat? How bad you beat them? Do you look like a college football playoff team? What's your resume? All that. Good enough, you could take Georgia out of the SEC, drop them into the MAC, and they probably wouldn't deserve to be in the playoff because of their schedule. But they still would be the best team in the country. And I thought all year that Cincinnati's good enough to be in the top 4. But the committee now has an excuse to grade them down. And that is that the last 2 weeks against Navy and Tulane, Cincinnati has played down to the level of mediocre competition. And the committee, in looking at who they're going to put into that 4th spot, you don't want to give them an excuse to say, yeah, here's a reason why we should not put your team there. And Cincinnati has done that the last 2 weeks.
Trev, my bigger issue is, why does Ohio State get back in the dance? They lost to Oregon. Nobody's claiming that one-loss Oregon should be back inside the top 4. And I think Ohio State should have to earn it by beating the top of the Big Ten. And I know they beat Penn State, but I think they need to go in there and win the Big Ten. And then once you win the Big Ten with 1 loss, then come see me. But I do think they're going to be put in there tonight, and I don't agree with that.
Okay? Well, let's say that Ohio State wins out. They will have to beat Michigan and Michigan State.
Right. No. I said
it.
if you do that, then you can come talk to me. But right now,
Yeah.
I don't think Ohio State should be in there over Oregon, and I certainly don't think Ohio State should be in there over Cincinnati.
Yeah, but right now you can make that case. You can absolutely make that case. Right now, though, Ohio State is the better team of all those teams. So it depends on what the committee is going to value. Oregon beat Ohio State in Columbus, but right now Ohio State is much the better team. But if they both win out and they both become one-loss conference champions, who would you put in? Ohio State because they're better, or Oregon because they won head-to-head? What would you do, Jared?
Oregon. And if they put Ohio State in over Oregon based on the merit of, well, we think they're better now, then I'm done with college football for forever, because then there's no point to play the games.
Well, then get to 12 in the playoff. The thing is, though, they did that a few years ago in the Big Ten, didn't they? Penn State beat Ohio State.
But Penn State had
won
2
the division
losses.
Ohio State's in. But, yeah, 2 losses versus 1 for Ohio State, and that was the difference. But Penn State, to overcome having 2 losses instead of 1, had the head-to-head victory, the division championship, and the conference championship. So which do you do? Well, the committee chose the team they thought was better at the time, which was Ohio State. Oklahoma is the team that really has to worry about what the committee does with Oregon and Ohio State. Because the committee, if Oklahoma doesn't look dominant down the stretch, and they've got 3 tough games plus the conference championship games, so they'll have 4 tough teams that they have a chance to dominate and show the committee that down the stretch they're a playoff caliber team. This is Oklahoma I'm talking about. But if they continue to win close, then the committee might solve the conundrum of 1-loss Oregon versus 1-loss Ohio State by putting both Oregon and Ohio State into the playoff and leaving Oklahoma out with the excuse that Oklahoma, yeah, they're undefeated, but they haven't looked like a dominant playoff team. Because otherwise, you've got to choose between Oregon and Ohio State. And if you choose Ohio State over Oregon, even though Oregon had the head-to-head, then I agree with you. I mean, I would turn purple and burst if they did that as a player. I beat them, you put them in over me? Nah.
If they put a 1-loss Ohio State in over a 1-loss Oregon, then I think the college football loses maybe all credibility. And I mean that in all seriousness, because how can you sell to me a big non-conference game in September if you're going to turn around and say, well, you know, their conference is better than this conference, and I think you're looking at some big problems if you do that. But it wouldn't surprise me for them to do that. Trevor Matich is our guest, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters. The Vols and the Cats this weekend. Last year, I think one of the big moments for Jeremy Pruitt was when they got embarrassed at home by Kentucky. I mean, just embarrassed. This year, Kentucky's got a pretty good squad, but Tennessee looks like they're on the come-up. They had a bye week last week. How do you see the Vols' chances going up against the Cats?
Very good chances. That bye week is critical. I mean, even banged up as they were against Alabama 2 weeks ago, they played a competitive game against the Tide in Tuscaloosa for basically 3+ quarters. I mean, it was a 1-score game early in the fourth quarter. And then in the end, they were trying to catch up, and they threw an interception. Bama punched it in on a short field. Then they went for it on 4th down on their own 29. Bama punched it in on another short field. And the score looked a lot less competitive than the game actually was. Well, now with 2 weeks, they've got guys back, especially at running back and in the offensive line. And then Hendon Hooker will probably be a lot more healthy too, and he'll be able to move around a bit better. So these are things that bode well for Tennessee. Kentucky, on the other hand, for goodness sake, they played Mississippi State last week and got housed. I mean, they got dominated everywhere there is to be dominated. They gave up 4 turnovers. 3 of those were interceptions. The quarterback for Mississippi State, Will Rogers, set an SEC record in completion percentage. He had 39 pass attempts, completed 36 of them against the Georgia defense. Well, a healthy and rested Tennessee, with the way that they are throwing the ball down the field, with the way that they are getting better and better at the up-tempo stuff. And that up-tempo stuff messed with Alabama. It duped Alabama into some critical missed assignments in the secondary. And if Alabama is going to blow assignments because of that up-tempo Tennessee offense, Kentucky may well also. All these things add up to where the Volunteers have a very good chance to go to Kentucky and take care of business.
Trevor Maddox, he is the best in the business, and I'm sure we'll have a lot to say once the rankings are released tonight. Trevor Maddox is presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. Trev, appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep, Trevor Maddox joining us on the program. I'm just going to say this. Like, I don't know if they put Ohio State in tonight or if they don't or whatever, but Ohio State will get into the playoff, I assume. But if a one-loss Oregon gets left out of the playoff and a one-loss Ohio State, whom Oregon beat at Ohio State, gets into the playoff, you're going to have a hard time convincing me to care about college football outside of the SEC ever again. Because at least in the SEC, you know, if you don't win the SEC, you're probably not going to the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
unless it would be that kind of situation, let's say hypothetically, if Alabama and Georgia go to the SEC championship and one beats the other in the SEC championship, then you have to put both in. But I think that a lot of people have kind of caught on that the committee tends to put teams in that are college football playoff darlings and they have dollar signs in their eyes.
And see, that's all bullcrap.
Yeah, it sucks.
I mean, the integrity, there's no integrity in your sport if you do that. You are no better than wrestling if that's how you act. Like, that you are wrestling if that's what you do.
And they give themselves the privilege of making everything very gray. Of, like, they have these certain standards that, you know, we haven't seen a two-loss team get in yet.
Change year to year.
They use the eye test to vouch for some teams getting in, quality losses, things like that they use perpetually, that they say that those are the qualifications to get in, but they purposely make it incredibly vague. So nobody can point at one thing and say, okay, well, Ohio State XYZ, Oregon XYZ, this team should go over that one.
You are no better than wrestling.
Incredibly subjective.
No better than wrestling if that's what you do.
I don't know about that.
Coming up next on the program, Derrick Henry's out. How long? I don't know. But the expectations for the Titans, what are they now that Derrick Henry's not there? We'll discuss next. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game. The Vols taking on Kentucky. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. They'll be rooting for the Vols. They're proud supporters of the Vols, just like they're proud supporters of the Preds tonight against Calgary and proud supporters of the Vanderbilt Commodores. You've noticed all the inventory shortages and empty shelves everywhere, and now there are serious shortages on equipment and products for your home. HVAC systems, tankless water heaters, and generators are going to be extremely limited in 2022. If you need a replacement, call my friends at Hiller today. Don't wait until you are out of options. My friends at Hiller have special financing available, so you buy now and you pay nothing until next year. Their work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services Free guarantee, and I can vouch for that, and I can vouch for Hiller because I use them in my home, and I absolutely love them. Learn more at happyhiller.com. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. My guys, call the Happy Face Truck today.
The voice of reason.
No, you blew it. That's what happened. It didn't slip away. You blew it.
The voice of the fan.
The officials had let that game get out of control before anything got thrown.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Celebrate Thanksgiving with Social Furniture and save up to 70% off all furniture. They have sofas, sectionals with chase lounge, and recliners that are all push-button electric and wall away. They have all colors to choose from for your comfort watching any hockey game. All of them are plus leather, microfiber, and Chanel's. They have same-day delivery with no down payments and no interest. Forget the big box store. Support local. Support social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
Performing at Skirmerhorn Symphony Center this Sunday, November 7th, 1964, The Tribute, live. Tickets on sale now at NashvilleSymphony.org. Don't miss what Rolling Stone magazine calls the best Beatles tribute on earth. 1964, The Tribute, live. Get your tickets now at NashvilleSymphony.org.
312 Pizza Company is home to Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Christmas shopping starts now at Electronic Express. Get huge savings on the hottest gifts with up to 50% off in every department. 4K TVs, computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. That's not all. Get up to 50% off all your appliance needs in stock and ready to deliver. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. We've got what you need this Christmas at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Signs First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
This game's gonna be good.
Definitely.
Loser buys?
Sure.
Hey, 2 Dos Equis on this guy.
The game hasn't even started.
And yet, somehow it's already over.
Okay.
A dose of certainty. Brought to you by Dos Equis, proud sponsor of college football. Get a dose. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2021. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game. Derrick Henry officially placed on IR yesterday. Adrian Peterson signed to the practice squad. Amazing.
AD.
So is Deontay Foreman, by the way. No one
Yes.
talks about Foreman. I thought Foreman did a good job last year for the Titans. I am convinced Jeremy McNichols is your starting running back as of right now. And that is certainly not the same team as the Tennessee Titans with Derrick Henry as your running back. But he's out indefinitely. I don't think he's gone for the season, and I certainly don't think he's gone for the playoffs. Now, we have talked about this. The Titans' schedule after this week against the Rams is incredibly easy. 3 500-level teams, the Steelers, the Saints, and the Patriots, and then 3 terrible teams in 4 games, the Jags, the Dolphins, and twice against the Texans. So what are our expectations? Let's say Derrick Henry does not return until January 1st. That would be how many weeks? 8?
10-ish weeks?
I think like 8 or 9. Derrick Henry does not return until January 1st. I believe they play the 2nd against the Dolphins, and they play the next week against the Texans. What are your expectations for the Titans? Because this is what's going to sound amazing. They may get crushed on Sunday night. In fact, I kind of expect them to get crushed on Sunday night. And if they don't get crushed on Sunday night, I think it'll be a positive. But I still expect them to compete. We can look at the Saints and say, hey, the Saints just went and beat Tampa Bay. Yes, but the Saints had their starting quarterback get hurt for the season. They're going to be playing a guy in Trevor Siemian as their quarterback against you, and Trevor Siemian couldn't even beat out Logan Woodside for the backup job last year. He was Deshaun Kaiser before Deshaun Kaiser, and that's who is going to be playing quarterback against the Titans. That game's at home. I think you should probably win that game. Mac Jones and the Patriots. Yes, they have Bill Belichick. Yes, it looks like they're improving. Yes, it looks like he's improving. But even without Derrick Henry, I don't think the Patriots are that good of a team. I certainly don't think much of the Steelers. You still have a $30 million quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. And I do expect the Titans to beat the Jags without Derrick Henry. I expect them to beat the Dolphins without Derrick Henry. And I expect them to beat the Texans twice without Derrick Henry. So, as much as my heart sunk yesterday at the idea of the initial Adam Schefter report that Derrick Henry could be out for the year and the fear of what that could mean, I now am not too, I don't want to say I'm still worried, but I'm not as doom and gloom because I think he will come back for the playoffs. And I do think there's a lot of games you should win even without Derrick Henry. That's what my expectation is. What's your expectation for the Titans without Derrick Henry?
When we were going into the season, we listed our must-wins, should lose, will lose. So from this point forward in the schedule, my expectations from what I originally thought going into the season haven't really changed. I still expect the Titans to beat the Dolphins, to beat the Texans, and to beat the Jags. Now, I think I labeled the Saints and the Steelers and the Patriots all as should wins. I don't think that they should win all three of those games now without Derrick Henry. With Derrick Henry, they probably could have. I won't be surprised if they drop one or two of those three: Steelers, Saints, and Patriots. I wouldn't be surprised. But I still expect the Titans, obviously, to finish in the top seed in the AFC South.
There's 9 games left, right?
So you have those 4.
They're 6-2.
Yes, 6-2, so 8, so 9.
9 games left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the 4 gotta win them.
They're gonna win those.
Okay, so that puts you at 10. That's 10 wins right there.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves you with 5 more games: the Rams, the Saints, the Patriots, the Steelers, and I feel like I'm missing another game.
What are we missing? Texans twice.
Dolphins,
Jags. Rams, Steelers,
40,
Patriots,
49ers.
49ers. Yes.
They suck too. Win.
Out of those 4, they should win 2 of the 4.
Okay, I actually think I should put the 49ers with the other teams.
Really?
Oh, those 49ers suck.
Yeah, they're not great.
They suck.
They're not great.
I mean, they're awful. So I'm going to put the 49ers there. So the 5 games. And it's a Thursday night. And I don't know where they're playing before they play here, but maybe they're playing in San Francisco. You got to fly all the way across the country and play on a Thursday night?
Is it here?
It's here. And it's like the end of the season, and their season is going to be over. You should win. That's like Christmas. They should win that game.
So that's 11 wins.
11 wins. That's 11 wins before Patriots and Steelers and Saints.
Yes.
And let's say they lose to the Rams. So they lose to the Rams. That's their 3rd loss. So now the expectation is what? One of those 3? Patriots, Steelers, Rams? I mean, Patriots, Steelers, Saints? One of the 3?
I think they win one of those 3. If they lose all 3 of them, you still got 11 wins.
Okay, but now you're 12-5. Is that the expectation?
That's what I expected the Titans to be going into this season.
12-5.
Yeah.
Is that so? Now Derrick Henry's out. Can we still say the expectation is 12-5?
I mean, we're laying it out right here. I think they're going to win Texans, Jags.
Texans,
Jags, Texans, Dolphins, 49ers. That's 5 wins. That's 11 wins. So even if they drop all of those games to Saints, Steelers, Patriots, I'm having a really tough time with this. They're 11-6. Like, that was our expectation. We said between 11 and 13 wins going into the season. And I think that they can still finish that. I think that can still be the expectation. I still think that's fair, even without Derrick Henry. If you would have asked me this question 3 weeks ago, I would have said our expectations are in the trash. But my expectation is for the Titans to still finish between 11 and 13 wins.
Here's the crazy thing, okay, about all of this. The Chiefs stink, so forget about them.
You know that now.
The Bills are, I think, a pretty decent
good team.
The Bengals can't handle success.
The Bills are currently the Super Bowl favorite in sportsbooks in Vegas.
And do you know why that is? Because
Why?
Derrick Henry's hurt.
Probably.
Because there's not I think right now, we've done these tiers about the AFC. Let's say from what we've seen now, so take the Derrick Henry injury out of it. I think the Titans and the Bills are the 2 best teams in the AFC. And I think everybody thinks that. Now Derrick gets hurt, take the Titans out.
And then the Bills feel like the favorite.
Which you should. Then the Bills are probably the favorite to win the AFC given their schedule. And unlike the NFC where Green Bay might be the best team, Dallas might be the best team, Arizona might be the best team, the Rams might be the best team, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might be the best team. Like, you could take any of those 5. And I think that you can make an argument for any of them.
But according to Vegas, there are 3 AFC teams listed in the top 6 or 7 for odds for the Super Bowl. And
Let me guess.
Titans are not in it.
Let me guess.
Okay.
Buffalo's number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay's number 2.
No.
The Rams?
Not quite close.
Arizona?
Nope.
Dallas?
No.
Tampa?
Tampa.
They just lost.
So it's
to Trevor Siemian.
It's currently Buffalo plus 500, but it's Tom Brady. Vegas loves Tom Brady.
I know, but they're going to have to go back on the road.
Yes, but I don't think
you're not going to Lambeau Field. I decided because they did it last year. You're not going to Lambeau Field and beating the Packers again. That is not going to happen this year.
It is Buffalo plus 500, Tampa Bay plus 600, Rams plus 650, then the Packers and the Cardinals at 800 and 1,000 respectively, then the Cowboys, then the Ravens,
Dallas,
then the Chiefs. And the Titans
the
are
Chiefs?
The Chiefs are at plus 1,100.
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs. The good for nothing Chiefs.
They suck. I mean, last night.
I'm glad that you're finally on my page here because you thought that I was certifiably insane for thinking that the Giants could keep it within 10 points.
The Chiefs. The Chiefs. Here's what last night's game proved to me with the Chiefs, which was when the Chiefs lost a couple games early this year, it was like, oh, yeah, their defense isn't very good. They need to get it together, but, they'll figure it out. They got crushed by Buffalo, but then they beat Washington, and it was like, okay, now here's a game where they can prove to us that they're still good. They'll beat the Titans. They thought they were good.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs thought they were good when they walked into Nissan Stadium 2 weeks ago. They got embarrassed. So now your season's almost over. Now it's wow, you are so far behind Buffalo. You've lost to Buffalo, Baltimore, the Chargers, and the Titans. You are so far behind the rest of the AFC. Well, it's time for you to get figured out. And you know when the best time to get it figured out is? By playing a crap team. Here come the Giants at home. You can make the argument Kansas City should have lost that game last night.
Oh, you very much so could make that argument.
They're
not good. They turned the football over it's their job.
I'd rather have the Raiders. I'd rather have the Bengals.
I'd rather have the Chargers.
I'd rather have the Chargers. I'll tell you, I think that the Chiefs are on par with the Colts.
If the Chiefs and the Colts played today, what's the score?
Chiefs 24, Colts 22, and Carson Wentz screws up the game.
Classic Carson Wentz always
the
screwing
Chiefs.
things up. The Chiefs!
That is so embarrassing. Ian, are we over the top here? Expectation for the Titans, 12 or 11 wins, even without Derrick Henry the rest of the way?
I'd say 11 sounds about right. Based on the schedule. I thought you guys went over it pretty well. The schedule's not overly difficult unless something really crazy happens during the Jacksonville or Houston game.
And barring any more injuries, knock on wood.
Right, fair. And I mean, the Dolphins don't really scare you with Tua. This whole Tua thing is a disaster now with the whole Deshaun Watson rumors.
Dolphins are a mess.
Steelers, might be a little bit tougher at Pittsburgh in December. Not going to be an easy game, even with Big Ben. At the Patriots, end of November, Mac Jones starting to move the ball. Not going to be an easy game. I think that's fair. I think 11 to 12 is fair.
Okay. That is probably second or third seed in the AFC.
I'll take it.
That's probably what you're looking at. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We've been too optimistic here. The expectations for the Titans without Derrick, we're putting at 11 or 12 wins. Again, here's how we get there. Right now, the Titans have 6. I mean, to be honest about the Derrick injury, I cannot think of a better time for this to have happened.
Which sounds icky, but I'm with you because
if it happens at the beginning of the season,
you're done.
It's going to wreck the front end, and you're going to be like the Dolphins right now. If it happens at the end of the season, there's no chance he comes back for the playoffs. This gives you a chance for him to come back, that he comes back right before the end of the season and is Derrick Henry for the playoffs. And remember, game 2 this year, 150 yards against Seattle. So it's not going to take Derrick long to get back to being Derrick. Here's how we get there, though. Here's how we get to 11 or 12 wins for the Titans. And this is our official expectation, is 11 or 12 wins for the Titans. Right now they have 6. Jacksonville, Miami at home, and 2 Houstons. That's 10. 49ers on a Thursday night, 11. Then you have to win 1 game between the Saints, Patriots, Steelers, or Rams. And I don't think they're going to beat the Rams.
No.
But all they have to do is win 1 game, and you're at 11 or 12. I think it's fair. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Even without Derrick Henry, even with Jeremy McNichols at running back. We're to your reaction on that next. Stillman and Company right here. It's ESPN 1025 The Game. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. That's right. Everybody knows about the FanDuel Sportsbook app because it's America's #1 sportsbook app. And basketball fans celebrate the NBA's 75th season on FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can place their first bet risk-free. And if you don't win, you'll get up to $1,000 back. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, now is the perfect time to give it a shot. They've got player point total, rebounds, assists, money line, over, under, point spreads, and much, much more. By the way, the FanDuel Sportsbook is now accepting Venmo, and it's easy to use and easy to register. Fast withdrawals, and when you win, FanDuel will pay you your winnings, according to FanDuel, in as little as 2 hours. There is no better place to bet on the NBA. So see for yourself why America loves FanDuel, and it's America's #1 sportsbook app. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and use the promo code JGM to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 and make every moment more on the NBA this season. That's promo code JGM. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issues non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
It's game day in Smashville.
He scores! Philip Forsberg makes it 1-0.
The Predators seek a 4th straight victory as they begin their road trip in Calgary.
We have an awesome group, lots of really good leaders, and no one's ever given up.
Pre-game at 7, face-off at 8 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and final sale of the year is here this weekend. It's an incredible event with savings of 20, 25, even up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year 3-day extravaganza. Acclaimed designers are here with expanded collections and extraordinary pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. The final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35% this Friday, Saturday, and yes, open Sunday for this great event. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal, and it's happening this weekend. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, the selection is nearly doubled with designers here from LA and New York with their entire collections, all of it on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Tune in every Monday at 8 a.m. and Friday at 3:15 to hear News 2's Corey Curtis take on all things Nashville sports, including the week's NFL games. All brought to you by Invigorate Health in Mount Juliet. Look and feel your best with IV therapy, medical weight loss, testosterone, body shaping, and more.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
I think this season, I think this season's over. I don't mean they're going to miss the playoffs. I want to be very, very clear about that. I think they get into the playoffs by default. They've already got a 2-game lead on Indy. And just looking at Indy's schedule, you've got Buffalo, Tampa Bay, New England, Arizona, and the Raiders on your schedule. That's left on the schedule already? That's what's left on their schedule. Indianapolis' schedule. So my point is, because it's Indy's schedule, Obviously, I expect Indy to lose a few of those games, and with Tennessee already having a 2-game lead, I think Tennessee gets to the postseason. When I say this season is over, I'm saying this conversation about them being in the Super Bowl conversation, that is done.
So
you are
sad,
not going anywhere without Derrick Henry. You will squeak into the postseason, and then you will go home because Derrick Henry is the Tennessee Titan.
There you go. That was Stephen A. Smith saying nothing but, hey, I think Derrick's coming back, and I think Derrick will play in the playoffs. And again, our expectation, 11 or 12 wins for the Titans because they play a bunch of bad teams the rest of the way. Let's go to your phones. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. What do we have in our text line, which is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com?
One texter texts in and says the Titans' record is too optimistic. Look at damage to Tannehill last week. There's a good chance that he is out for some games.
So I don't do this whole thing of like assuming somebody will get hurt because they got banged up in what was essentially a playoff game against the Colts. I don't think Tannehill's going to get hurt. Tannehill's been the starting quarterback of the Tennessee Titans for 40 games now, and he hasn't gotten hurt. So I don't know why we would expect him to get hurt when he has not gotten hurt at a level to miss games. I mean, I can sit here and tell you, well, Josh Allen's going to get hurt because he runs the ball so much for Buffalo, so take them out. And Tom Brady's going to get hurt because he's 44 years old, so take them out. And yet you can't do that. I had no idea Jameis Winston was going to get hurt last week, but he did. I thought Derrick Henry was, the definition of never get hurt, and he did. So you just don't know with those things, so it's hard to say, well, Tannehill's definitely going to get hurt, so it doesn't matter. I have not seen any evidence that would lead me to believe that that is for sure true, though I'm not ruling it out because anybody can get hurt.
If Tannehill does get hurt, then that changes our expectations a bit. But based off of what we know now, those are our expectations. But another texter texts in and says, you're assuming if Derrick returns in time for the playoffs, he'll be the Derrick that we all know. We don't know if he'll be the same runner. Only time will tell. I sure hope so. If anyone can return to form, it's him.
When's the last time Derrick wasn't the same Derrick? I mean, I know this idea of if Derrick has 47 yards in a game, you think that he stunk that game or that Derrick wasn't great. But, I mean, I thought Derrick in the Chiefs game where he only had 80-something yards, I thought he played great. And I honestly, before we found out the news that Derrick had gotten hurt, my dad and I in Atlanta at the World Series were talking about this. And I was like, I thought Derrick played great on Sunday against Indianapolis. Now, I know Derrick was hurt. You could tell he was hurt. Like, he didn't look explosive at all, and you could see it. But I thought he played, I thought that was some of the gutsiest football I've seen from Derrick. Week 2 against Seattle, he had 150 yards and completely took over the game. Now, I know Seattle sucks, but at that point, they still had Russell Wilson, and nobody thought they were terrible, and Derrick went in there and completely took over the game on the road at Seattle. And that was the second week. If Derrick comes back in time for the Dolphins or the Texans and can get a game under his belt, you're at home in that first game against the playoffs against a wild card team, which is probably going to be either Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, the Raiders, or somebody of that ilk. Maybe it's the Patriots, honestly. I think that's a game you should win. And Derrick may not be 100% to being Derrick, but he'll be close enough. And then after you get 1 game and 2 games under his belt, Derrick's ready. The idea of Derrick Henry barely practiced this offseason, like with the team, like during training camp. He barely practiced and he didn't take a single preseason snap, and he was fine. Derrick will be fine. Other guys, I think it's fair to wonder if they'd be able to come back and be an impact player, not Derrick Henry.
Are we worried about his conditioning since it's a foot thing and he'll have limited, time to get on his feet and get his conditioning back up?
No, Derrick Henry, and I just believe this. Stephania Bell was on the show yesterday talking about all the things Derrick can do while he recovers the foot. He will do all the things he can do. This is Derrick Henry. So he will do the ropes. He will do, the medicine ball stuff. He will do the pool workouts. He will do all the stuff that he can do with that broken foot to stay in shape. And not only that, they said that it takes 6 weeks to see if the bone is healing correctly. My guess is probably a couple weeks that he'll get out on the field a little bit, but once he can get on the field a little bit, he can probably do the full conditioning. I am not worried about Derrick Henry's conditioning. The one thing, though, that might be good is that if you want to ease Derek back in, if he can come back for the Dolphins game or the Texan game, if you want to ease him back in there, McNichols is probably going to be carrying the ball 15 to 17 times a game. So you can give, and if McNichols does okay, then you can trust that you can give him the ball. And then that will help ease Derek back in. But I just don't ever believe that you ever ease Derek into anything. Last year, Derek, there was no preseason because of the pandemic, and Derek carried the ball 30 times in Denver. Now, he was practicing every day or practicing most days, but I am not worried about Derrick Henry. That's one guy. Conditioning, fitness, in shape, Derek, never have to worry about it. What's next?
Slick texts in and says Jared still doesn't realize how good the Saints defense is. Now, my response to that is, I understand. I'm a Saints fan. I am fully aware of how good the Saints defense is. I'm also fully aware that the Saints starting quarterback is out for the season. And their second string quarterback is in concussion protocol. So I don't think that and we don't know where Taysom Hill will be at that point when the Titans play the Saints, or who will be the starting quarterback in that game. But I think it would be very naive of us to think that just because the Saints have such a great defense that having a backup quarterback in is going to be anything incredibly menacing.
I mean, I'm looking at the Saints schedule. I mean, they lost to the Giants, which you lost to the Jets. They lost to the Panthers, but that was September football. So since the start of October, they lost to the Giants. They beat Washington by 11, who sucks. They barely beat the Seahawks with Geno Smith in that awful game on Monday Night Football, and they beat the Bucs. I mean, I think the Saints are your typical 8-8 team. I think they are a traditional 8-8 team. See, that's how I view this. Rams good, Patriots, Steelers, Saints, all 500 level teams, 9-8, 8-9, whatever the hell it's going to be this year. I think 9-8 is the new 8-8, but I could be wrong. Those are all 9-8 teams, might sneak in as the 7th seed in the playoffs, and then the other 5 are terrible. And I think San Francisco is terrible.
Yeah, they're not great.
I think they are terrible. And they're also traveling. So, look, you're right. I haven't watched a ton of Saints. I've watched enough of Saints to say, hey, they're okay. Like,
they have a solid defense for sure.
You put Derrick Henry out on that field against them when Geno Smith played, they'd have lost that game. You take Derrick Henry off, and you put Ryan Tannehill at quarterback instead of Geno Smith, I think Ryan Tannehill probably wins that 13-10 game.
That was a gross game.
It was awful. Like, the Saints are not.
And they're a tough team to put your finger on because they barely beat the Seahawks 13-10.
Which
and then
most
they turn around.
8-8 teams are.
Yeah. They turn around and then they beat Tom Brady and the Bucs with their second or third string quarterback.
And I'm looking at their schedule. So they got the Falcons at home this weekend. Falcons been playing better ball as of late. Arthur's pretty good coach.
I'd take the Saints.
I'm going to tell you what's a big deal, though. The fact that you're going to get to see what Dean and Arthur do against them, and then you're going to be able to look at that and then break it down for yourself. And I think that's going to be a pretty big deal. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says Jalen Smith is available. Why not go get him to help the defense?
No, thank you. Jalen Smith is hurt. Jalen Smith isn't that big of a deal. The Cowboys didn't even want him when they had to pay him, and you have no money in the cap. And you've got 5 middle linebackers. No, thank you. David Long Jr. is okay. I don't need anybody else there. Coming up next, World Series Game 6 is tonight. Carolines will also follow that. But why? One of my biggest beefs with baseball is that nobody's talking about what I think the biggest deal of the World Series is. We'll get to that next. But first, Caroline wants to tell you about BetUS.
I want to tell you about my favorite sports book, and of course, that is BetUS. Football is in the thick of things. Hockey is back. We're in the World Series, so get in on all the action and do it with BetUS. BetUS has been America's favorite sports book for over 25 years. And that's exactly why I endorse them, because they've been around a long time. You know that you're getting integrity, longevity, and you know that you're going to get paid with BetUS. Plus, they offer everything. They have live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, all kinds of crazy prop bets. If you want to put money on it, I can guarantee you can probably do it with BetUS. So call them today, and they will walk you through setting up an account. 1-800-79-BET-US. Just call 1-800-79-BET-US. Nobody in the industry gives bigger bonuses than BetUS. So if you join now, mention the promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, and you can get a sign-up bonus on your first deposit. Nobody in the industry beats BetUS. I bet with them, and so should you. So go now to BetUS.com. Join today. Put in promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, for a sign-up bonus on your first deposit. That is BetUS.com.
Wednesday night.
The backhander, he scores! Colton Sisson.
It's the second leg of a back-to-back for the Nashville Predators when they visit Connor McDavid and the Oilers. Pre-game at 6:30, face-off at 7:30.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee ensures children and teens, especially those who need us most, are ready to read, ready for class, ready to graduate, ready for their career, and ready to serve the community. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
Trust the roofers with integrity. E2 Roofing is a veteran-owned and operated local Nashville roofer with over 90 5-star Google ratings and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. While roofing is our business at E2, honor is our code. For roof repair, roof replacement, free inspections, or insurance claim assistance, visit e2roofingnashville.com.
No one outfits golfers better than Edwin Watts Golf Shops. We've been fitting golfers since 1968. Utilizing cutting-edge fitting technology, we'll analyze your swing and our Foresight launch monitors and fit you with the perfect club, pair of shoes, the latest golf apparel, golf balls, bags, and more. So come by today for your complete custom fitting. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Bill Burr, slight return.
My wife always says the same thing. She's always just like, where did that come from? You just go from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds.
From his Netflix specials and F is for Family, Bill Burr, slight return. Friday, April 22nd, Bridgestone Arena.
First of all, I idle at 75 miles an hour, all right? So don't give me this 0 to 100. I walked into this restaurant at 75. I could hear that guy talking too loud on his cell phone from the parking lot.
Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
Are you interested in starting your own business? Join the Blink Law Entrepreneur Summit on February 2nd for their one-day event to help anyone start a business. Not only will you hear from experienced entrepreneurs from a variety of fields, but all attendees will also get a one-on-one consultation with an attorney who will register your business. You will leave the event with certified documents and an officially registered business. This is a great opportunity for anyone who wants to jumpstart a new business. For more information and to register, go to facebook.com/BlinkLawLLC.
This is Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers. We understand that no one likes to deal with auto body repair and the inconvenience it becomes in your day-to-day life. I want to personally invite you to stop by and let our experienced staff see how we can help you make your vehicle look good as new. Apple Collision Center has 3 convenient locations, Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, ready to serve you. Come by and see us or visit us online at applecollisioncenters.com.
Hey Nashville, Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee here, inviting you to tune in on ESPN 94.9 every Monday at 6 p.m. for the Commodore Hour, providing you with exclusive insights on Vanderbilt athletics.
Hey, this is Matthias Ekholm. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals. The new deal of the week is a $30 gift card for only $15 to 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. 312 Pizza Company serves the best pizza in town, as well as Chicago-style eats like Chicago dogs, Italian beef sandwiches, and more. Get your deal now at theGameNashville.com. Good things, though, come to those who listen through the break. Be caller 5 right now at 615-737-1025, and you'll be winning a pair of tickets to see DaBaby at Municipal Auditorium on Wednesday, January 19th. Good luck for that.
You love DaBaby.
Love DaBaby. And good luck is in order for the Atlanta Braves tonight. Game 6 of the World Series. I had a friend text me. He's like, hey, what are you doing for dinner? And I'm like, it's Game 6 of the World Series. And I'm going to tell you, my biggest issue with baseball. You having baseball for dinner? Yeah, I love baseball. My biggest issue with baseball is a fundamental lack of stars. And every time you say that baseball has a lack of stars, the baseball fans get all worked up and they start telling you about Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout and Corey Seager and Mookie Betts and Aaron Judge and all these guys. And I'm like,
Tatis Jr.
People in America do not care about those people. They do not care. Basketball has stars. Now, basketball is also boring, But basketball has LeBron James and Kevin Durant. Baseball does not. Football creates 3 new stars every year. So you lose a Peyton Manning, in steps Kyler Murray. You lose a Tom Brady when he eventually retires, Drew Brees last year, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Football just creates new superstars all the time. In fact, there was a one superstar running back for years. His name was Adrian Peterson. He fades out. They get Ezekiel Elliott, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry gets hurt. In comes Adrian Peterson.
Recycling of stars.
I mean, they just got superstars all over the place. Max Fried, the pitcher tonight for the Atlanta Braves. I'm a big Max Fried fan, but nobody in America knows who Max Fried is. For the last 2 years, Max Fried has been a Cy Young caliber pitcher, and yet he cannot win the big game. Ian Anderson, the pitcher who the Braves will send out there tomorrow if there's a Game 7, he's got big game written all over him. He's pitched in a Game 7 against the Dodgers last year, pitched great. He pitched against the Dodgers in Game 6, won that game this year, pitched great. He pitched against the Brewers when they were tied 1-1 in Game 3 and pitched great. He pitched in the World Series the other night and had a no-hitter through 5 innings and pitched great. He's got, like John Smoltz had this back in the day, where he was just a big game pitcher. Ian Anderson is 4-0 with a sub-1.3 ERA. He's unbelievable. But this Max Fried, nobody's talking about this. Nobody on ESPN talks about this. Nobody talks about it. And here's the problem with baseball. If you're a baseball fan, there's one place to watch constant baseball coverage. It's MLB Network. But they're never critical on the MLB Network because it's owned by the league. So they're not going to have segments on that channel where they talk about the fact that this guy, Max Fried, has been pooping his pants in big games for the last couple of years. Game 6 against the Dodgers last year, closeout game, pooped his pants. Game 5 against the Dodgers this year, NLCS, closeout game, pooped his pants. Game 2 against the Astros, pooped his pants. Eventually, you're a pants pooper. Here's Game 6.
We've maxed out the number of times we can say
you
poop in this
crap your
segment.
pants tonight, you are a pants pooper for forever, the end. You win tonight, all that's forgotten, you're a World Series champion. But the bigger problem for baseball is no one's talking about it because not enough people care, and the league-owned network won't talk about it because they don't criticize. And I think that's bad for the game. I think it is bad for the sport that there's no more controversy anymore. When I was a kid, baseball was riddled with controversy. And I just think it's kind of good for discussion. People at least had feelings about Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa. And they didn't like certain guys. And they loved others. They couldn't stand Roger Clemens. They loved Derek Jeter. There's none of that anymore. None of it.
Well, I mean, I think that you have your superstars by baseball standards. I would say Mike Trout is a baseball superstar because if you put him in a crowd, I would say 95% of the people would have no idea who that is. But is one of the highest paid players in baseball, is one of the best players in baseball, but doesn't play on a championship team.
Nobody listening to this radio show cares about Mike Trout.
Okay, and that's why I'm calling him a baseball superstar.
Right, but
because if you're a baseball fan, you know him.
Right, but see the problem.
I would say that
the problem with when you own a restaurant and you're marketing your restaurant, you're not marketing it to people that already go eat there.
Okay, but I'm saying I think Fernando Tatis Jr. is a superstar. I think Mookie Betts is a superstar.
Not one person who listens to this show cares about Fernando Tatis Jr.
That is not true.
Fernando, you think Adam in Portland has a take on Fernando Tatis Jr.?
Maybe. I'd love to hear from Adam in Portland.
I guarantee you he does not. I guarantee you.
Why?
Because it's not interesting. Nobody cares. The games are on TV and no one watches.
I think that you're overly critical of baseball. I'm with you that there are the
Have
popularity.
you seen the ratings? Have you seen the ratings?
The popularity of baseball is tanking. Yes. But in terms of the individual brands and the individual personalities in baseball, they're not as many as there are in football and basketball. And you're not talking about Mookie Betts on SportsCenter every day, but they're talking about LeBron on SportsCenter every day. I'm with you on that. But I'm not with you in the fact that there are no superstars in baseball.
No, there are no American superstars in baseball. And I don't mean from America. When I say American superstar, I don't mean from America. I mean that American people view as superstars. Pedro Martinez is not playing baseball anymore. that was a superstar. Fernando Tatis Jr. might be, but he's not getting people to turn on the TV right now.
Well, he's not playing right now.
But even when he does play and they put it on TV, the TV ratings don't go up.
I mean, I don't know what the ratings are for like the home run derby, for example, but I have to believe that they were up because of Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, dude, the baseball ratings in general, right? Like the World Series ratings are terrible.
I saw an article that was like, they're better than 2020. Well, yeah.
See,
I would hope that they're better than 2020.
That's like the people across the street that are doing so bad compared to how they've done for years and years that they're now putting out there, hey, we did better than we did in 2020. Like, way to go, guys.
Which is something to put a feather in your cap for, but you're not writing home about it.
You're still 75% or whatever it is off of what you were when you had Clay Travis and, back in the day. But congratulations to you. You're better than 2020. That's kind of the,
Yes.
That's the mentality.
There are marketable personalities that I think are superstars in baseball.
They're not marketing them, or they're not marketing them well enough.
Mookie Betts isn't being marketed?
Now, that's the one guy that people that listen to this show might care about, but that's because he's from here. But I'm telling you, it's just not that big of a deal. All right, quickly, it's time now for Caroline's. I think I hit you with that.
Get in on the action. Put the money on the mahogany. What's on tap on the sports books? It's time to break it all down with Caroline's. Here on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline's is brought to you by BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook for over 25 years. You can sign up at BetUS.com, mention promo code GAME, and get a sign-up bonus on your first deposit. Game 6 of the World Series. Max Fried, the lefty on the mound for the Braves. He's 14-7, a 3.04 ERA in the regular season, but in the 2021 postseason, he's 1-2 with a 5.4 ERA against the Astros in a Game 2 loss. A 10.8 ERA, 7 hits and 6 strikeouts. Houston scored 6 runs in 5 innings against him in Game 2. He was in against the Dodgers in Game 5 of the NLCS. He gave up 5 runs in just over 4 innings. So I'm going to take the Astros on the money line. They're throwing out right-hander Luis Garcia, 11-8 with a 3.48 ERA in the regular season. He's coming off of short rest, so that does make me a little bit nervous. But in his last outing against the Braves, he had a 2.45 ERA with 3 hits and 6 strikeouts. It was a loss for the Astros, but I think that they win the pitching matchup here.
So he's on short rest, and I didn't think he was very impressive Friday night. I think the Braves will score some runs. I'm with you, though. I have a friend who's got a 2-year-old, and I was standing across the room the other day, and I could smell what was in the 2-year-old's diaper, and I was like, oh, my God.
It's Max Fried.
I feel like if you're standing at second base today, you're going to feel the same way. You're going to be smelling Max Fried, as he craps his pants tonight, because I have no faith. I have no faith in Max Fried in a big game. None. 0. If this were Steve Avery or John Smoltz, I'd have faith. Now, I'll say this. Tom Glavine had the reputation for not being a big game pitcher. Then in Game 6 of the World Series, he one-hit the Indians, and they won the World Series. So maybe that's the case. But I'm going to take the Astros tonight as well. Tell us about BetUS.
Well, before we go, I'd like to wish a very, very happy birthday to my dad. It's his birthday today.
Show's not over, though.
I know, but I'm just saying, I thought about it.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Thanks.
Tell us about
Caroline's is brought to you by BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook for over 25 years. You can sign up at BetUS.com, mention promo code GAME, and get a sign-up bonus on your first deposit.
Hal Gill will join us next from Calgary, where they are honoring Terry Crisp tonight with a hockey game that they will play. The Predators are winning. What does Hal think? Plus Predators game day coming up next. Invigorate Health. They're online at InvigorateHealthTN.com. My guys at Invigorate Health. In fact, I'm going to Invigorate Health on Thursday. Going to get my 4th of 4 of the M-Sculpt Neo. And I will say this, I can 100% see results. I have noticed this, I'm like, this looks different. I'm like, oh, yes, it's because the M-Sculpt Neo. That's a $450,000 machine. You've got fat that's hard to get rid of in certain areas. It will target that fat with heat and the electromagnetic fields, and it will get rid of it. And it'll get rid of cellulite. It'll get rid of all of that. And it'll build muscle, lose fat. You'll look much better, trust me. They've also got the new weight loss drug, semaglutide, which has been approved by the FDA. And in Men's Health magazine, there was a full write-up on it and the benefits of it. They've got it. And doctors are telling you, hey, You got high blood pressure, you normally take high blood pressure medication. If you're obese, that's what semaglutide is. Don't blame the patient. I know you're trying to lose weight. You've been trying to lose weight. That's what semaglutide is, and it will take great care of you. They've also got testosterone and hormone replacement if you need your levels checked. InvigorateHealthTN.com. Give them a try today. InvigorateHealthTN.com. Those are my guys at Invigorate Health. Weight loss, hormone replacement, IV therapy, M-Sculpt Neo, they've got it all. Botox, you name it, they've got it. InvigorateHealthTN.com.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Patchy frost will be possible overnight as temperatures slip into the mid to upper 30s under mainly clear skies. Looking for partly sunny skies Wednesday with highs expected in the mid-50s. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
In 1972, a Nashville family business story began when Bill and Beverly Finley founded Volunteer Hose and Gasket. 3 generations have grown the business into the local industry leader supplying just about anything to anybody, from the largest of contractors to your neighbor that mows his own yard. Over 1 million items in stock: belts, belting accessories, gaskets, gauges, hose fittings, hydraulics, industrial hoses, lubricants, sealing products, tubing, fire protection, and more. All at volunteerhose.net. If Volunteer Hose and Gasket doesn't have it, then you probably don't need it. Call them at 615-242-0461.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Crane Works, Rental Works, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Crane Works is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Crane Works offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Rental Works has a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Crane Works. Visit craneworks.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey is the official whiskey of the NFL pregame broadcast on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Screwball is the original and most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world. Made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, Screwball is all natural flavor to be enjoyed as a straight shot, in an espresso martini, peanut butter old fashioned, or a PB&J shot with a berry liqueur. Check out screwballwhiskey.com/recipes for more. Be sure and ask for Screwball by name at your favorite watering hole in Nashville.
Enjoy responsibly. 2021 Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Darren McFarland.
He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him.
Willie Donick.
Would this be a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day?
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Predators tonight at Calgary. Preds game day in just a second. Hal Gill joins us now, Predators radio analyst. Hal, the Preds actually look pretty darn good. Big win on Saturday over the Islanders, but a big road trip. You always say give it 10 games. We're not 10 games yet into the season, but it does feel like this could be a big road trip with big positive implications on the Predators. How do you feel right now about the team?
Yeah, you're right. Big road trip coming up. This is going to be a good test, I think. You got some good teams. Calgary and Edmonton are clicking right along. So you got Calgary and tonight, Edmonton tomorrow night. Then you got Vancouver, Chicago, Dallas, St. Louis. It's a heck of a road trip. And I think you're going to learn a lot about what the Preds are and what the team is. By the end of this road trip, we'll have a pretty good idea of who they are. But right now, they're playing some good, solid defense. They're getting some timely scoring, so things look good.
How, I mean, right now, I'm not ready to walk it back yet because it's still early in the season, but Tanner Jeannot looks like maybe one of the more consistent players on the team, and I was stunned that they protected him over Calle Jarnkrok, and I'm still kind of stunned that they did it anyways. But it does feel like everything that they valued, that they saw in the small sample size from him last year, he's brought this year. The toughness, the aggressiveness, the weird ability to score goals at important times. Right now, he looks like a real player, and I know that he profiles as a bottom six forward, but is there any chance that perhaps they give him maybe a little bit more of an opportunity offensively?
Well, the interesting part about Tanner Jeannot, but by the way, he's coming back. His home is not too far from here in Calgary, so he'll have some probably an extra boost in his step. But, I think the interesting part is the way he plays is a straight line game. So I don't see him necessarily as a skill guy that's going to go up and play big minutes on the top line, but you can't just keep him down on the fourth and third line because he's scoring goals. So you want him to play that way, but he's got to play the right way. And the best part about his game is he is physical. He is hard. He's going to get in on a forecheck. He's going to pound some bodies. We've seen big hits from him on the regular. It's not like a inconsistency at all with him. It's something he does on the regular, and then when it turns around, he's scoring goals. It's goals that he's going to the net. He's goals that he's playing the right way. So I think the coaching staff is happy with what he's doing, especially happy with that line with Colton Sissons and Yakov Trenin. That line has been really solid, and you can count on him to play against the other team's top lines. You can match them up. You can put them in the defensive zone. They're all killing penalties and doing a great job of it. So, yeah, that line has been a bright spot. It's just a matter of how much ice time can you give them. You know, that's the hard part for John Hines is you don't want to keep him on the bench. You want him out there scoring goals. But you got to play other guys too. That's the hot line right now, though. It's fun to watch them. So I hope they get the more playing time. I really enjoy it.
Hal, last thing for you. I know fans just want to see the team win one way or another, but what should they be watching for kind of as the next step in the development of this team on the road trip?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that they need a little bit more from. If they got a little bit more from like five guys, you know, if Tolvanen, you got a little more from him. Cunnin, if you got a little bit more from him, you know, you're waiting for Forsberg, Duchesne, Johansson, those guys to start humming along. But if you got a little bit more from a few of those guys, I think you'd see big returns and big wins. And I think they're playing good defensively right now, and they're winning games. But if you want to take the next step, you got to get those guys to perform and up their game just a little bit. They're not way off. It's just that one step. If they can get over that hump, I think you're going to see a pretty solid team all the way through the lineup.
Hal Gill, as always, on the program. We'll hear you on the call tonight. A little bit of a late start in Calgary. Appreciate you, Harold. As always, time now for Predators Game Day.
It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Duchesne. His shot stopped, and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. This is Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators Game Day tonight against the Calgary Flames. We start with the coach's take. John Hines on the Predators taking on the Flames.
You know, I think when you look at Calgary, they're, you know, really kind of clicking on all cylinders. I've had the opportunity to see some of their Eastern Swing road trip games, and, you know, I think it starts with Markstrom. He's playing really well. You know, I think as a five-man unit, 5-on-5, they're playing really connected, and, you know, they have strong work ethic. They have a lot of talent. You can tell they're playing on the same page as a group, which makes them difficult to play against. And both sets of special teams, the power play and penalty kill, are pretty effective. So, you know, they have it going right now, and we know it's going to be a stiff test for us. But at the same time, I think we like where our game's at, where our game's continuing to go, and, you know, it'll be a good challenge for us here tonight.
Calgary 6-1-1, good for 13 points on the year. The Predators 4-4-0, good for 8 points, coming off their big shootout win over the Islanders. What are you watching for tonight?
Well, this is the Preds' first real road test of the season, and it's a lot of young guys. Calgary's been on a heater. They've won their last 6. So I'm really just looking for some confidence. Confidence on the road, confidence against a team that's had a lot of dominance in the league in the past, 8-ish games. So just some confidence from the young guys and going out there on the road.
That's going to do it for us. We're out of here. We will be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, I'm sure something great is coming up next. There you go. Ryan and Chase are next. We'll see you. Stillman & Company. It's ESPN 102.5.